they wish to do so, and be the CT that they choose to go for. I'm unsure. I don't know where I'm leaning in. I don't know what I think. I don't know what I want. But what I believe is that Crazy should be able to put up a lot of flashy plays on a map like Mirage, and I'm looking forward to that. I think it's a great pick for them. Like you said, it's Alternate ATTAX's weakest map, and that's saying quite a bit given the fact that Alternate ATTAX plays 6 maps. So, you know, it's always interesting to see. Cressy moving in with the USP, trying to get aggressive early, but CR4ZY has blessed us with the S-class power, and that is in his gun. Black's trying to fight back, and he will do so.
Yeah, 2 very fast kills for Crazy, but a response is there, but it just might not be enough. Slack's doing his best to keep things competitive. A couple of kills found by him, another opportunity at that, but Crazy are rotating back around. They think ATTAX have fully rotated in, and they're right to think so. Slack's in towards jungle, Mirabit still underneath the balcony, and while the smokes will ring through towards the B bomb side, I think ATTAX, yeah, they all have realized that it's a rotationary game from the T's. But actually, it's a feign. They fall back. They want to rendezvous back towards the A bomb site. Slack's another kill. Mirabit springs into action, and they actually bring it back. The 2 versus 3, Crazy kind of mind game themselves. It was an open B bomb site, but they wanted to make sure that they had that palace pressure. They wanted to meet up, and it doesn't work in their favor.
Well, the odds from our friends over at LootBet don't really work in their favor either. A 182 to 192 for Alternate ATTAX. Again, not entirely sure if that has been adjusted for post-pistol, but if it has, I agree with that entirely. Otherwise, I could have maybe lent the other way around. But Crazy mind gaming themselves early on is not the best of signs in the world. One thing to note, though, about Alternate ATTAX's recent results on Mirage is that they have also been playing in a lot of deep playoff games recently for the MDL, against Namiga, against teams like Endpoint, a lot of teams here and there who are probably ranked at, and I would consider to be quite a bit higher level than Crazy is right now in the circuit at the very least. Maybe Crazy is better on paper, but on the circuit with the way things are, they're definitely ranked higher. So don't ever forget that the 40% win rate that ATTAX has is also keeping in mind that they go up against some really good teams.
Well, at the very least, a good start for ATTAX in spite of things looking dire to start off that pistol. And while it won't be a full commitment from Crazy, ATTAX are looking to up the ante a little bit. A bit of aggression in towards A ramp. He smoked deep as well. Cressy, position forward, does so much for him. Scrunk as well secures a path. And while Cressy takes a lot of damage, he survives on 7 HP. Everyone alive for ATTAX.
One thing that I always find entertaining about watching ATTAX is that they very often will, as we see over here with Cressy getting this aggressive, they'll go for what's considered the correct global meta play. You know, they'll try to get aggressive control on the CT side. They'll try and trade territory, and they'll try and play as proper as they can. But where they bottleneck sometimes is when individual skill just becomes too much for them to deal with. And that's kind of what Crazy is probably going for. Whether or not they can achieve that, that's the big question you have to wait to find out. But it's definitely an exciting matchup where DemQQ does get flashed up. Is there a way to say that, by the way, or is it just DemQQ?
I ignore the second Q.
Okay.
Well, ignoring Qs or not, CR4ZY finds his Q to open up the round, and with Mirabit into the apartments, this could be a bit of an unforeseen circumstance, but they clear him. They check him. Mirabit, the steps gives him away, and well, it's a 1-for-1 exchange in towards the apartments. So this B bomb site very much an open target. Slacks, he was trying to wrap around. He was trying to flank early enough into the round, but it just accelerated out of control.
I mean, Slacks is still hoping to find a couple of kills here and there at the very least. Just make sure that that T-side economy isn't going to be particularly firm. And that 1 kill is very important because it's also in a position where he's allowed to circumnavigate the T-spawn enough that I wouldn't mind seeing him, just post up on top of... Again, I really need to figure out what these tiny things are called. I'll just call it the wall in front of A main. So he just posts himself up on the wall, and that means he has an advantageous position if Crazy wants to continue hunting him. So he will keep the AK alive, which is very important given that he can drop an AWP over as well and have utility bot over. So very, very good. Very good for him to be able to take forward.
Yeah, some individual skill on display. You can see Crazy are separating fairly heavily in the early stages of the round. The fact that CR4ZY is up towards short by himself, there's no real trade potential. That's a big swinging kill to be able to find, and so well, that B bomb site became that much more exposed. Another buy from Crazy as they had saved enough. Same with ATTAX. As the double up setup immediately employed Scrunk and Slacks to take up those mantles.
DamQ, nade, not really doing much more than scrape the skin of Cressy. Like we said before, Cressy really liking to go aggressive, get full control over A main early on, make sure that if Crazy wants to get it back, they have to flash him out, make sure they have to use a lot of utility. Here, though, is where Stefan needs to step up. Stefan? Is it Stefan? I think it's Stefan.
Yes.
Stefan needs to step up. He is going to be spotted going into the ladder room. Flashes out to keep CR4ZY off the angle. Secondary flash will not matter too much. He himself is winded up. He's trying to maneuver around the ladder, but will not be able to do so. Murbit steps up to take the field, though. Maybe he can come in and find something or the other, but what he's actually found is information, as they're making a lot of noise moving back into the underpass, and this means it should be an A-side hit. Murbit is ready to try and flank, but the Molotov will prevent that.
Cressy is hot on their heels in through middle. They lose that presence towards A and Scrunk, and so one of the AWPs already thrown out to the wind. Cressy, he's not going to quite deny the plant, but takes the planter down a moment after it goes down, and Crazy, they'll hold that man advantage. They deal with that middle flank, and with Slacks being the last man standing, he's pretty far committed into this, but very, very much a likely call to save. The post plants for Crazy are very hard to deal with.
Slacks is at least... Oh.
He's gonna go for it.
He does have a kit. They do need to move. He's found a chance to get a shot, but he missed it. Unfortunately, like we said before, Slacks isn't always necessarily the opera who you'll see getting those crazy flicks, those crazy close-range duels. And as a result of that, he does suffer. I'm not sure why he felt pressured to go for that, to be honest, but... he is, and as a result of that, now you have alternate attacks without really a chance in this one. Yeah,
surprisingly a pretty good attempt, right? Because the smoke denies vision from Catwalk, so it feasibly a possible scenario. Yeah, gets that one kill, gets back on the bomb. You have to just spam away and hope. Certainly closer than the numbers may entail, and with just only pistols in this round, the economy, the numbers, they would seem to suggest that this is a crazy round. But Scrunk, again, I mean, they've gotten themselves pushed through A so many times on the CT side. Scrunky will be able to catch DemQ off guard, unable to hit the shots, however. While there's a bit of presence in towards Palace on the other side of things, they're just trying to keep DemQ distracted. Look at him, he's getting pincered in from Palace as well. And while he goes in hot pursuit of this one player, it could have gone astray, but Sensei has his back.
Well, nice little attempt from the CT side to get him to dance around a little bit, but he's not fond of dancing, and his friend will give him the emergency call to get out of the club. Psycho, however, is very fond of playing around at the very least, and he will be able to play around the fact that there is still the intact vent over towards the murder hole, so Stefan can't really come in with the P250 to try and find any kills. Alternate attacks, not finding a single kill in this round. Really nicely done from Crazy. Fantastic hand by Eco.
And I think an important thing to note is the fact that because attacks are getting so much control over towards A in the early round, and they meet pretty minimal resistance from Crazy by and large, outside of this one where they have a player posted up in Palace, they've got that AWPer posted back towards the spawn. I could see attacks going for that flank a little bit earlier, because the times that they've been able to pull it off successfully without meeting Crazy resistance is when they've lost mid-control, they're conceding space, and Crazy are finding these entries faster than the flank can ever really come in. So maybe we look to that as being an accelerated play from attacks moving forward.
No AWP out, and this is where I don't know, man. I would have liked to see Slacks try and save the op 2 rounds in a row. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. But you never really know with an op, especially in the hands of Slacks. They also don't have a kit, even though Stefan has enough money to buy it. So they're really not prioritizing heavily the retake. I think they're just going to try and make sure they've got 4 players on this A side. If they don't come towards A, well, you know what? We'll save these weapons. That's the only reason why you don't go for a kit if you've got the money for it.
Definitely a gamble being taken by ATTAX to start this one off. While they'll concede mid-control, Crazy, they're backing themselves away. They'll leave CR4ZY to take up that position, maybe be a lurking presence in, as Crazy set their sights on B instead. This is kind of the worst case scenario if ATTAX are keeping to the stack. Some misutility in through middle from CR4ZY, so certainly not ideal, but now the steps will be heard. Mirbit, the Molotov, the smoke to immediately extinguish it. He's trying to get himself away as fast as possible, but there's a player deep within the site. Toxic gets so much distance before he realizes, and so now Slacks has to be able to at least come up with one or get himself away, but he fails in doing either of those things, and Toxic makes it so that there's only one rifle that can even safely, feasibly get himself out of that position.
I'm really enjoying how Crazy's playing right now. They are completely outmaneuvering alternate attacks. And alternate attacks, they're so heavily reliant on taking control over a cave that when they're not finding pickoffs in the process of doing so, they can't adjust. Admittedly, they don't have the utility to adjust either, because generally what you do is you play retake mid. But without an op and without the full utility, that's basically impossible anyhow. So Crazy, regardless, really nicely done. They get a player into short. That's Toxic, who's able to find the 2 kills, who's able to be the difference maker. And, you know, again, all 5 players kept alive, and their money is really reflecting that.
Yeah, and they pull the pin on that execute just as, really, if you look at the timings, that's when ATTAX should be kind of retaking middle as well, right? So potential expended utility from ATTAX if that was the plan from them. So yeah, Crazy seem dialed into quite a few of the timings available. Well, we see a nice little run boost in from Crazy. Doesn't affect the picks too much. And with the saved rifle, they'll throw a few bodies around him to act as some bodyguards. Maybe he gets a surprise kill here or there, but no surprises to start things off. DemQ locking out the Palace position.
Psycho. Oh, he's just been taken down. It's Stefan to do the job. CR4ZY, he does trade, but this is still looking very dicey for the Crazy side as Mirbit comes in. The problem is, though, they've got full control over B already. Toxic is just repeatedly finding so much map control, so much presence that he takes control. And now alternate attacks, they could go for this, but the save is so much more valuable. You have 3 rifles. I mean, tell me you're not going for this.
Yeah, surely not. Just because they lose B, they go for the gamble stack. They are poising themselves up at the very least for containment, but they're peering in for a couple of frags, seeing if Crazy will give them the chance.
Thankfully, Slacks at least backs off, so there is that. Stefan can drop him an AWP in the next round, so Slacks would like to reward him with an AK-47.
I think it's kind of this line of reasoning, right, where if Crazy give you those opening picks, then you commit to the retake, but even still that can come back to bite you, just being enticed in that manner. Yeah.
Even if you get a kill, so it's okay, fine, you gotta have a kill, you don't have kit, you don't have armor, you have to clear out all the angles. Crazy's not giving up more than 1 opening pick. That's the best case. The best case scenario is you have a player in apartments who is visible to you from short. You get that kill by using short and the back apartment Spencer together. That's absolute best case scenario. After that, what do you do? Toxic's in market. You're not taking him down. But, you know, one can hope for more mistakes to be made, so you still understand why they would go for it.
Ifs and buts.
Yeah. And they are feeling the pressure. Let's not forget, this is not a map that they play very much. So that can always be troubling for you if you're already this far down. Drunk. sees them coming over, and he immediately trucks out as well to give more maneuverability. Stefan taking the first duel, loses it out. Sergey and Demq come in, but Skrunk is still there with 2 of his own.
Oh, Skrunk even getting more above the smoke. Things going right here for ATTAX. Sergey's the last remaining player. A 1 versus 3 on the cards. Slacks will hone him in. AWP in hand. The defuse already underway, and ATTAX, they break the string of rounds. Finally, things go their way in those opening duels. Crazy have been finding those entries, getting so much space to start off those executes. And ATTAX make sure that it's as difficult as possible in that round.
And we'll be able to catch up that replay of Skrunk finding those 2 beautiful kills, man. Unfortunately for Crazy, they're not quite able to put a lid on him. And as a result of that, ATTAX are straight back into it with the double up setup, no less. Money's not even terrible, honestly. Slacks and Murbit have quite a bit, and they'll need it to be able to buy up for Skrunk in the next one. As he goes down, they lose their advantage of firepower. And now it's all in the hands of Crazy. They can turn back and go back towards that B bomb site. Toxic really likes to be able to clear that out early, but they still have to contend with Murbit should they desire to do that.
And this is one of the problems for ATTAX thus far in this game. Just losing those opening duels so early on into the rounds. They need to make adaptations, stretch themselves a bit thin on the defensive end. Fortunately for them, they've got that double up, so they can trust Mirbit to try and lock things down over at B. Meanwhile, Crazy are approaching slowly for an A-sided execute for a burst play. They've got 2 in towards ramp, a couple players rendezvousing now through middle. Slacks is going to be under a lot of pressure here.
Slacks turns around at the wrong time though, and he doesn't re-peek in time. Demq to take him down. Cressy's only good for 1 when he needed 2, if not more. Stefan can re-peek out, can do what he wants, but with the smoke in front of him, there isn't really much ground to be gained. Murbit's in the back lines, begging him to go for the save. He wants to take this up forward. Toxic will fall though, and maybe that's a cue. Maybe that's alternate ATTAX's time to pull the trigger and go for it. Flashbang goes overhead. It won't really be doing much. Both of Crazy's players are inside a cave, but do they realize that Sensei, with the op at the ready, will have to go for the flick? They will be peeking into him soon enough, but Sensei's found Stefan, and with that, Murbit turns tail and runs.
Yeah, the plan was throw the smoke, get him as close to and maybe defusing that bomb as possible. But that shot from Sensei, critical. Denies the plan from ATTAX, and Crazy are starting off very, very well on their own map pick. As we kind of expected when we were talking about the vetoes, it's not the strongest map for ATTAX, and Crazy are exploiting some weaknesses, and just the consistency that they're finding these entries is going a long, long way.
You know what, Yumi? I think I found a new aspect to my S theory.
Oh?
It's I'm advancing the modeling. As it turns out, players who start with S are all very good, but players whose name starts with S and then has a vowel to follow up, they're even better. You know, Sergey, Sensei, Simple, Sergey. You know, compared to Slack, Skrunk, and Stefan, sure, they've got the power of the S, but it's mitigated by not having the assisting vowel and adding a consonant instead.
I thought there was going to be some way you tie it into, you know, my name at all. I'm lacking S's, and I'm disappointed. I am disappointed.
I am, mate. Why do you think my name has no S's?
Yeah, true. While we may be S-less, we're getting some S-tier gameplay from Crazy on the T side. They're doing a great job thus far in terms of getting individual picks and working the map accordingly. Very much so, and it remains to be the case. Mirbit holding the angle in towards the apartments, taken down by the opponent's AWP, and while that S theory is certainly still ringing true in this game, ATTAX, can they respond successfully? The only time they've fought back with uneven numbers when they've been that man down was that pistol round.
Indeed. Grunk, however, picks up the AWP at the very least. He's recovered that, but I think they know. They should have heard the scope. Demq, very interesting crosshair placement. Don't know what that's about. Perhaps just a momentary lapse, but it's all on Scrunk. He's got to find the kill. Can't quite land it. Slacks instead comes up big, and Skrunk's there on the repeat. There's another player coming in from the side. Toxic, as always, is a menace on this B side, and he doesn't quite see Slacks. The flashbang comes in. He doesn't even move. And Cressy will be the next to fall. Stefan and Slacks left versus 3, and this is a very difficult retake.
Still to go for it. So much damage done on towards Slacks. Toxic, like you said, being a menace on this bomb site, making things so difficult as they approach. Toxic finally dials in the kill. The trade from Stefan is good, and he's going to try his best to push forward. Still unsure as to where one of these players is located. Demq playing with him around the corner. The trade, it's not quite there. Sergis bides his time, and he catches Stefan off guard. He had an inkling initially, but caught in no man's land. Crazy, another round, a closer one though.
Hellcase, however, is close to no other case opening website. They are our partners, and they're the biggest and most known case opening website with almost 100 cases, updated case battle, upgraded, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolutely unique features. You won't get bored with Hellcase. Use promo codes to save more and grab what you can. Auto attacks, smokes, utility, all the work's going out, but it Slacks to come through with some good old-fashioned shooting gallery shenanigans. 2 quick kills, and that's the advantage they've been thirsty for a very long time.
Yeah, now the onus falls on Crazy. Do they have that response? They haven't been in too many positions like it, and while they'll continue to fall like flies around the map, Toxic and Sensei, what are you made of? ATTAX, this would be a great round to keep as many players up as possible, get that economy bolstered on the CT side. With a minute left, there's still a lot of the map to explore. Toxic in the smoke, he's found a little bit more room to work with. Cressy just around the corner. Skrunk's just about to go and peek in. Sensei's found the angle. Toxic, oh, the uncleared angle. You have to check your corners. Cressy gets himself out of there as fast as possible, so even an attempt by Sensei would be for naught. Well, I'll switch out to the AK. I don't think there's many hopes of him winning this round. Oh, he's trying to spam the higher penetrative power of the AWP. He knows what he has to do, but he's lost track of him now.
Oh.
He's juggling guns.
Sensei? 20 seconds on the clock, just wants to do some damage. Maybe could have thrown the AWP overboard, but regardless, auto attacks will not be able to get it. And there you have it. Crazy. Not quite able to clean that one out. Starts off very nicely with a 2K though, and that is a terrible way to enter into a round as a T side, so it's understandable. Still, they're not out of it yet on ATTAX's side as they show us with some fighting spirit.
Well, I'm not really adding to your point. I just like to say and point out, you've got the whole chat trying to prove you wrong with other players with S's that, you know, deserve a bit more respect to their name. So that's what you've spawned. I mean, that's what you've created.
Toxic's a stud, so there is that. He's not even starting off with a letter. There you have it.
He's got a 7, so it practically counts.
It's almost an S. Kind of does look like one though, doesn't it?
I mean, 7 starts with an S, so it all works in your favor.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I was going for.
What's up now? This is why we're casting together.
We're both equally stupid.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if ATTAX can be smarter than us. Keep it rolling on the CT side. A good round prior, but the execute from Crazy. It's fast and furious. Scrunk there with the kill to open things up. Demq's gone, and he continues finding these frags. He's just allowing his teammate to sit in the smoke. And while Cressy hasn't been given the duel, Skrunk's still dealing so much damage. How have they not tracked him down? Eventually, Sergis pulls the trigger, but the damage is done. Sensei, all that's left of Crazy, and the double flash is perfect. The man blind as a bat. ATTAX keep 4 up.
Man, ATTAX 3 AKs as well. That is very important because that changes how aggressive they can get over towards B, which is where Crazy has been fighting so much. And look at this, man. Scrunk on this A side. Earlier on, we saw him being able to get on top of the CD boxes to find the multi-kill. This time, he's just as good over towards default. he is really keeping a handle over on this A bomb site. You can see why Crazy's found most of their success over towards B. And that becomes even more difficult. The AKs on the CT side are deadly on the B side.
May dissuade them from going A much further, but okay, never mind. Psycho, Sergis, they both go in for the entry to start things off, and while Slax is there to cover them as they cross, the smoke will deny him vision. They're still wrapping towards this A bomb site as quick as possible. Scrunk again comes up with a kill. The tag damage done, but not the frag for Slax. Might be enough for Scrunk to find the kill. Instead, it's Mearbit, the nade, but the bomb gets planted.
And this is where the retake is on, but there's not really the positions there from the CT side. The short player needs to make massive magic happen. Unfortunately, magic is denied. Sensei is doing his best Dota 2 anti-mage impression, as Scrunk will also go down, and there is no magic left in this world. It is only craziness and madmen who are taking over this A bomb site. Merbit, not sure what exactly he's going to be able to do in the next round with the AK-47. I think he does have the ability to drop for Stefan, so they do still have a buy. Can they pull out double ops? Yeah, they can. I mean, Merbit's the one who goes for the secondary op anyway, so they can definitely pull out double ops.
Merbit's a braver man than I am. I thought he was going to die to the bomb there. He survives on 9 HP. That's a little too close for me.
I was going to say it, but then I thought, you know what? He probably knows more about the game than I do.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not going to take a risk.
We'll see, man. It's thus far been pretty back and forth in these past few rounds. As soon as ATTAX may get a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more stride to their step, Crazy answer back.
I need to see this op getting more done though. Slax, he's 13-6, sure, but he's not been the stopping force we know he can be at times. And this is where his opportunity to shine will be coming in. Is there a flashbang? Yes, there is. Slax will not be caught by it. There's a run boost. Can he find the player mid-air? He gets the shot, and Cressy's there to follow up. It's the drag tag team, but it gets the job done. Unfortunately for them, Psycho is the hidden S, and he does come through from underneath. Slax still good for another, though. 4 versus 3, and information on Crazy's location is there. The bomb very far away, and they will have to go back to recover it.
Yeah, the man to make that long rotation is Demcube. And ATTAX have been playing a lot more passively when we've been seeing more success in these rounds. They got so aggressive towards A to start out this half, but allowing Crazy to operate a little bit more and just be in reinforcing positions. Slax is having a great round. Tags, kills, you name it. Middle his domain and under lock and key. 30 seconds left for Crazy to emerge onto one of these bomb sites. And with 4 players to pass, it's going to be a tall order. Psycho can't even get there with the bomb. So this round is all but over. Toxic will try as he might to get kills back, but ultimately the objective needs to be accomplished, and it fails outright.
I think you've made a really good point, though, about the fact that ATTAX have completely changed the style of how they're playing, especially because if you look over towards why they were failing in the past was because by the time they got into retake positions, the fact that their players on A were so far pushed forward and couldn't find any kills meant that the long rotations would make it impossible to retake the B bomb site. Now, instead, what they're doing is they're putting some sort of aggression on B short every single time, which we all know is one of the best information positions there is in the entire game. And they're really contesting for that mid cross initially, because Crazy has not always been going for the double, triple smokes down mid. And if they do actually go for that, then they adjust and they put a few more players towards B and let Scrunk really work his magic inside A. So that's just some really good adjustments coming out. Now, though, the question is Crazy on their slightly inferior buy. Can they pull out adjustments of the ilk or not?
Middle has certainly been the focus. They set their sights elsewhere on ATTAX, and so far thematically, as soon as ATTAX get a few rounds, Crazy pull up some kind of a surprise. We'll see if that is a recurring thematic device or whether ATTAX may have just recovered this CT side. Things were looking dire at one point. We weren't really sure if ATTAX were going to be able to muster it all together, but these These last few rounds have us convinced, and there's a little bit of aggression there from Cressy. The flash timing perfect to catch out DemQ. The smoke as well means he cannot be chased down. Another man advantage that ATTAX can operate off of.
Flashes and smokes all raining through galore. Unfortunately, oh no, that's actually really important that the Molotov is missed. Crazy still not going forward, as it does seem like it's the A site where they want to be coming into, but Psycho's found one. The trade is there. Skrunk, like we said before, has been the master of this A site from the CT side, but can he continue to dominate it?
Sergis hears the steps. Oh, the 1-for-1 trade is unideal, but at the very least, there's a bit more room for Sensei to now move on through. He has the bomb on his back, and he's investigating, trying to track down if there's a player on this A site that's looking for that information to deny the plant. And while he clears that out, you'll find that there's nobody there.
These double ops can be overwhelmed very quickly. They have to be careful if Sergis comes out with a quick little 1-dig. That's the difference maker. Bombs planted, rotations are coming in. Sergis, however, no longer about the life of the quick 1-dig. He now knows he has to cut off these rotations. Will they be checking this angle, Stefan? Should be. And it doesn't matter. Sergis comes out on top, but in his greed for a rifle, will give it up to Sensei to try and clutch out in a 1 versus 2. There's an op. There's a flashbang. Will they be using any of those? It seems like they'll have to, but Sensei is perfection on a plate. 9th round out for Crazy, and what a way to do it.
They start the round a man down, but some great performances. Sergis hitting shots with the deagle, Sensei to clutch it back. You can see the up and down nature, the back and forth between the two towards the tail end of the half. Well, Crazy, they get a nice bit of separation now moving into their CT side. Good presence of mind as well from Sensei, just pushing forward, making sure to take that fight initially, understanding that the opposite play.
And Crazy put themselves into the perfect position, though, going into the second half. They have a really interesting buy, actually. Toxic goes for a mullet, for an incendiary and no flashbang. I don't know, man. Maybe just trying to save a little bit of money. Who really knows? Stefan flashed up entirely, and that will lead to Sergis coming in from the side with a quick 1 tap. Can't follow it up with more, though, as was required. Sensei now forced off his angle as well. This post plan is going to be interesting, but they need to get the bomb down first and foremost. Sensei taking the duel, but Cressy winning it out against DemQ. He's not done yet as he switches out for the USB. Smokes himself off, so he has a bit more room to maneuver, but room is found in the heads of Toxic and Psycho, as Slacks will be clearing them out as well. Alternate attacks with a domineering start to that pistol.
Well, of course, we have our odds over by our partners over at LootBet, and, well, things are lent over towards Crazy. I have to give props where props are due. Slacks on these pistol rounds has been phenomenal. I feel like the strat needs to be just avoid giving that man a USP where possible, because he just takes names, and I mean, that's both pistols won by ATTAX, so that definitely has some impact. But pistol or not, Sensei with the scout, okay, what a way to start the round.
I'm not saying no to that. I'm not saying no to any more of those at all. Sensei, you have my full permission to get 4 more kills like that, just in case you wanted it. I don't think you did, but just in case, you know. Let me feel important too sometimes, Yumi. Why do you have to call me out like that?
I don't think you've got the right paperwork to be demanding those decisions, or commanding them rather.
One day. All players still alive from Crazy. No one really taking any duels after that first big shot came through, but Sensei is still here. Sensei knows he's got to keep an eye out for connectors soon enough as the flashes come in. They get some information as well, but Sergis is the one who's able to drop the next. Slacks is down. Sensei still fighting. Sensei still struggling in the corner of the CT spawn, but Sergis, he's swinging out, trying to find something through the smoke. It simply will not happen. Cressy will hunt him down, but Toxic is here to save the day. A quick headshot will lead into another, spotted out but not connected with. Skrunk still alive, trying to play the A side like it's his firstborn baby, but it will not work. He's missing his shots, he can't connect with his sprays, finally gets one, and Demq and Toxic have been led on a merry ride, one which will finish in their demise. Skrunk missing a few shots, but not quite the round.
What in God's name is going on? What a chaotic post plant for both ATTAX and Crazy. You can understand from Crazy's point of view, they're trying to close that distance, make it as uncomfortable as possible, but some missed shots, some open opportunities. The door opened and closed back and forth for that CT side. It seemed like they had the numbers advantage and enough room on the site to operate off of, but a crucial 2v2 to be played out that ATTAX come away with. After so much damage done in that previous round as well, it's a good decision from Crazy to just play it a little bit more patiently. They have that buffer built up for a purpose, so they're saving instead. But Skrunk, he's got the SMG, he's got some space to play with, and that A bomb site very much open for business, and he just wants to farm cash on this SMG as fast as possible.
I don't blame him. After what happened in the previous round, well, you know what? It just happened. We're here too. Skrunk was lucky enough to survive before. This time, it is going to be a different case. He does lose the Mac 10, so it's not a big deal. But, you know, Demq will tank him for the $300. And Sensei pulls out the AWP with the armor, so it's not even a glass cannon. That's good to see.
Yeah, we finally get that into his hands. Some impactful frags certainly found for Crazy on the T side. While Slacks has been having a game, he had some missed performances on CT. We'll see if that transfers over, whether it's a plague for both sides of the coin. Initial pick not going to be found by Slacks. They go for the boost, and well, they find nothing from it. Cressy, they were aggressive on A on their CT side. He takes up a position he's all too familiar with in Palace, just to contain any aggression that the Crazy side might offer up.
Oh. Murvet getting dangerously close to some wall banks. He doesn't know it, but he watches that demo, he's going to be thinking, so close.
Just a little bit more to the left.
Yeah. I've literally played one quote-unquote professional game, and I did that for every single round. If only I'd hit that shot. If only I'd hit that shot. If only I'd hit that shot. Light smokes out from Crazy. Very good timings on them. And alternate attacks will be significantly hindered, but they've got quite a bit of utility, so let's see how exactly they collect their play together.
Oh, flashes through short. The pincer maneuver over towards B. The split is on the cards. Demq long range sprayed. Toxic as well chiming on through. Demq flash just to try and get them a bit more room. The bomb's dropped on short, so this needs to be recovered by the attack side. And with Cressy finding the one kill, that's not quite enough space. They still need to get this bomb planted or even recovered, and Toxic locks it all down. Short is no longer an option, and well, double digits secured by Crazy.
I know you pointed out Circus and Sensei for good reason, but can I just say Toxic is literally the best player on this team. From my small sample of 19 rounds, I have declared it. Toxic is the best player on the server right now. And it's not because, and I'll justify that, it's not because he's pulling off crazy clutches and everything. He's always in the right position at the right time. On the T side, we saw that repeatedly on B. Over here, we see him being able to reposition himself so nicely as well. That's just great to see. Very refreshing.
Well, a brimming fundamental play from Toxic doesn't keep them in the lead. Just as soon as attacks get a small whiff of it, it is ultimately lost. And while the utility sails in through middle, they're going for a bit of control. The boost is certainly on the cards. Mirbit in the right position to do so. Psycho's privy to it. He's very prepared for any sort of a play like that. Just about how attacks operate around this position, whether maybe it's just going to be a flanking element or a surprising one into a late round execute.
Sensei misses a crucial shot, which he needed to land to give them the advantage. And with that, Skrunk, he's jumped across.
Oh.
All right, Skrunk, come on. Now, Skrunk has jumped across along with Mervit. They might not be expecting the second player, though. As Skrunk does go down, will they be checking for Mervit? Is the question. No, they're not, and he's able to find a kill because of it. Can he reposition for more, as he has still been trapped to go back? Psycho is in a great spot, but he needs to come up huge. Finds one, but needs at least another, and Stefan can catch him off, making that an impossibility. The bomb can't be planted, though, as Toxic and Sensei both finding key frags.
Oh, no.
Cressy is introduced to a flashbang. He says, "Oh, I know you from somewhere." And as it turns out, yes, he does. He's the one who threw it.
Yeah, not a lot of time to get that clutch, and the additional time spent blind certainly doesn't help. A great reaction, it seemed, from Crazy. I thought for sure the ATTAX offense, just the fact that they had 2 players in window, that would have been enough, but Toxic getting that kill, the fact they get the kill from the connector as well, it didn't seem like an angle that ATTAX were all too concerned about to start things off, but that's where they had to set their sights. That's what ultimately led to their demise. And while they threw it all out the window, it seems like their A-centric plays have not gone the way they thought they would. Now instead they set their sights on B, the MAC-10s out in spades, the Tech 9s as well.
I like the utility coming out from Crazy over there, but slight misplays in the grenades, honestly. Because there's already a Molotov there. The only way the nades do damage is if a player has been forced right into the corner, which very rarely happens because it's just so easy to spray and kill over there. Skrunk, however, has pushed through into an M4, which is also something that's a little bit hard to deal with, as he does get taken down.
And while the initial plan seemed to have been an overwhelm the players at B type strategy, after that initial utility, they do fall themselves back, approach the map elsewhere, recognizing as well that they had no map pressure at the start of the round, so it was very likely that Crazy could have stacked. They'll go for a window boost once again. Psycho has been pretty on point in kind of addressing this pressure.
Reasonable.
He fires some shots, none of them connect, and ATTAX, they've still got that lurking presence in towards the window. Psycho, he knows that that's an opportunity for the T side, and he'll spot them on the cross, but now Sensei, CR4ZY, they need to deliver as they approach towards the site. CR4ZY's missed shots initially, but he's position now known, but he's going to be able to use the M4 to his advantage. Toxic chiming on through as well, and Stefan not long for this world. A shutout from Crazy.
Who is the coach for Crazy, man? Because they've got such good discipline in these positions. Like, I thought CR4ZY was going to peek out for sure, but he just backs off. He says, you know what, if they peek me, whatever, I have my USB, I'll find out whatever I can, but I'm not going to try and hunt for force buy / eco kills. John does their coach. No wonder. I knew they had a good coach. For such a young team to have that kind of discipline, you always see a good coach in the modern day of Counter-Strike. No wonder. I'm really impressed so far by Crazy, by the way.
I think we always knew it was going to be a tough task for ATTAX, given their track record, but yeah, Crazy are making sure that the mistakes are few. Even if sometimes utility goes askew, their movements, positioning seems to be a very, very strong fundamental asset. Well, ATTAX, they're just grouping themselves up. There's only pistols brought into the round, and CR4ZY, he'll be the first point of contact. He'll spot them on the cross. No utility really thrown, but lots of missed shots by CR4ZY. Just buy just enough space for them to be able to cross into the side. Just throw enough bodies at the problem. But Psycho, he's here as well. He's been a problem for ATTAX since they swapped sides, and well, everyone's rotated in. They all want a piece of the action. They all want some eco frags, and they'll accomplish exactly that. 2 kills. Demq, Sensei. CR4ZY's just left with the 1, but he is the one that called for that rotation initially.
Welcome to the crossfire. That's all I can really say. Really nicely played by Crazy, keeping so many players alive as well, and you can see their money is reflecting that. They've got another buy and a half in them, depending on how many players they save, should they be losing a round. And it is actually a double up potential as well, even if they lose this. So Alternate ATTAX would really like to start being able to win a few rounds right now, and that's not a great way to start things off. CR4ZY finding presence, finding pressure, and finding the kill. Burbot will take one down, but he's traded away immediately. CR4ZY can be blinded up, but will it matter? They finally bring him down, but with firepower coming galore, they should not be able to do much. Sensei, however, his position has been revealed by that one wallbang.
Oh, in the angle. I think CR4ZY, yeah, he spots the shoulder, is able to take him down. Meanwhile, Toxic, the nade, brings him a little bit more breathing room. A 1 versus 2, certainly more feasible, and he begins his reposition, his reapproach into the site with this bomb now getting planted. It's about securing these after plants for the T side. Toxic, unprepared for the angle. CR4ZY catches him out, plants the bomb, deals the final blow. And while ATTAX, they finally get themselves up to that double-digit scoreline as well.
Unfortunately, a lot of that round came down to the fact that Sensei was perhaps neglectful of the left eye disadvantage, which is that if he's playing from the right... So, for context, if you're covered from the right side, that means that the player in front of you will see you before you see him. So because of that, he was just fired down at the shoulder, a slow crouch peek, and he couldn't really have the time to swing out and take the player down. As a result of that, it just becomes a very quick 1 versus 2 in what should have probably been a 2v2 situation. So unfortunate, but CR4ZY do let through a round in alternate ATTAX. What a way to do it, despite losing 2 players early on.
We can see the difference of emphasis on middle control as well. CR4ZY, when they're on their T side, made sure that there was always some sort of presence, some player in position. But ATTAX have been grouping themselves up more for these execute-heavy styles, and while CR4ZY will maybe lose out on 1 or 2 of these opening duels, their rotations have been so sound, and the utility deployed on those rotations has been very, very good. We'll see if anything changes coming into yet another execute from ATTAX. A is where they go. CR4ZY, the smoke to defuse the flames. Right now he's being gunned down through the wood, eventually taken down. Sensei can do nothing to support, and he's the one that holds the final pillar of defense here for CR4ZY. Everyone else trapped behind smokes.
Damn Q. Molly is thrown forward. Oh. So close, so very close. Toxic, however, is even closer as he does actually connect. CR4ZY is taken down. DamQ looking for a shot through the smoke, almost gets another one. Psycho, however, should be aware that there could be a player at the bottom of these stairs. Crunk, who's moving in, reveals himself. Psycho will take him down, and indeed, there you have it. Smokes right as they were dissipating and up working out against them. Flashes to come out. Psycho's trying to play this perfectly, but it's not the easiest thing in the world for him. He's still peeking out. The AWP to take DamQ's life away, though, will be the cue for these CTs to save.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that ATTAX were going to be aware of the fact that a flank was a possibility. Toxic seemed to be hot on their heels. ATTAX were taking a lot of time in terms of getting that bomb planted and really clearing out the site, waiting to find if they could flush Sensei out into the open. It opened up an opportunity for Toxic to come out ahead, and whilst he did find that frag, just so much damage done in the process. Not a clean flank at all. And finally, a timeout call, this time by CR4ZY.
CR4ZY definitely down on their luck when it comes to money, but you can see alternate ATTAX have been given a window to come straight back to the 13-13. CR4ZY are not sure whether to buy or not, though. That's where you've got a $2,900 loss bonus, so you can buy up in the next round. Actually, no. Is it a 2,900? No, it's not. Now it'll be
2,400. Yeah.
Yeah, unless Sensei's got a pistol. 24 is actually kind of awkward. You need Toxic and Psycho both to be able to get a kill each to buy. Well, maybe they can make it happen. Deagles and lots of guns in mid, scouting out information. Toxic repositions to see what he can find.
Yeah, now ATTAX make a change. Now they get some pressure in towards middle to start off this round. It is against a mustered together piece of equipment from the crazy side. Obviously, the couple rifles saved over and the pistols that surround it. And now how do they act on getting a player into towards the ladder room so early? It should be information that Crazy have to operate off of, given that Skrunk was tagged down. Even still, knowing a player's there and being able to deal with him are two different tasks altogether. Still a information game for ATTAX. They've yet to see any of the Crazy players, and well, they throw some utility over towards A. That's not really where the concerted effort is. The vast majority of players are grouped up towards B, and they're isolating this duel on Toxic.
Well, they're taking quite a while to do it, though, so you can see the rotations are coming in from the CT side. Skrunk is trying to play that toxic position, but he's taken down. Sensei introduces him and Murbet to his little friend. Demq finally goes down, but they don't realize there's still a player over in benches. That's Toxic to find the kill and the bomb. Crazy. I said they'd given alternate ATTAX a window to jump in back into the game, but really, alternate ATTAX have just used the window to jump out of a very, very tall building. This could be the death of them. Money's not great. Slacks is at a 1 versus 4. And although he finds 1 kill, he is now going to find a whole lot of pain. What a round, though, coming out from Sensei. Beautiful deagle shots.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was dead on the rotation. He pulls that one out of thin air. He gets another one while off camera as well. I mean, that's ridiculous. The fact he rotates in, gets 2 quick kills just as ATTAX are trying to lurk their way back into that site. That's a round that Crazy shouldn't be winning on paper, but the phenomenal shots will always change how that one plays out.
Well, first one through is Slacks to take down Surges, so at least they have the man advantage to work with, even if utility and weaponry isn't the best in the world. Demq could, however, equalize very soon. He's looking to maybe get aggressive, but unfortunately does not expect the second player. Next up is Murbet, who's taking a duel with Psycho. Psycho backs off to safety, and Sensei is trying to pick up where his teammate left off.
So a man down. Crazy. They occupy most of their players with the B-bomb site, and that's where ATTAX are heading. Toxic, this forward position will be an early indicator for them. They seem to understand that that's a possibility. They don't clear him initially, but that takes too much time. The trigger discipline at play, but it doesn't work out in their favor. And now ATTAX, they have a very exposed site. The rotations have come through. Sensei there with the AWP as well. 40 seconds still on the clock. ATTAX are tapping out. They don't want to meet these players head on, and they're beginning their rotation away. Sensei gonna meet them and beat them to the mark. A fantastic shot hit by Sensei to cut them off. ATTAX, where do you even go from here?
They need to boost up. They need to do something, because going into Sensei is impossible when there's that smoke down, and they've realized it. Slacks has decided, you know what? You think you can fool around with us? I'm gonna go to short. But look at who's on short. It's Psycho. It's a madman. And Crazy. This is a masterclass. This is a dance, and Crazy is leading alternate ATTAX on a blitz of moves that they just aren't ready for.
Just the outplays. Couple of players caught with nades out, jumping mid-air. Crazy read them perfectly.
That's actually one of the most insane rounds I've ever
That's ridiculous, yeah.
Literally one of the best rounds I've ever seen played on Mirage. Ever. Across 6 years of, watching this game, playing this game. That's one of the very best. Ooh.
It's just astounding. The reaction comes out so quickly from them. They read exactly what's happening. They get that 1 kill, and they're already making rotations over. They hear something. They hear a few steps by Sensei, and he's out of there. He knows what he has to do. It's instinctual.
That was a beautiful round, though.
And that may just take them out of the map, right?
And now they don't have money on alternate ATTAX, and now you need some sort of a miracle to come into play. Crazy. I mean, round after round after round, there's just these outplays that are happening, be it from Sensei's Deagle, be it from Sensei's Op. Sensei's just going ham going into this very end. And you can see them completely outmaneuvering the T side.
Yeah, with worse weaponry, it's not a good look. Losing around like that, to be fair, indecisions, right, being made by ATTAX. Yeah. They seem to want to commit towards B, but then they feel a little bit of pushback from Crazy. They get scared. And that comes into what we were saying, the fact this isn't the most comfortable pick for ATTAX, the most comfortable map for them. Crazy are showing us why they picked it in the series. A bit up and down, a bit bumpy, but really hitting a phenomenal stride. ATTAX go back to a play towards A. The smoke's on over. They missed out on CT. They're hoping that CR4ZY gives them that fight, but he's playing it patient. He's waiting for those teammates to get some control right back.
Psycho finds the early kill on the Cressy. Not a great sight. Sensei trying to refrag, but they're not going to be expecting CR4ZY because of it. CR4ZY swings out for one. Sensei is the casualty though, as Murbit and Slacks chime in simultaneously. It's a 3 versus 2. Molotov to go out. CR4ZY does scout out the player into the Tetris side as well, but it's a grenade over here. Murbit is fighting back. He's got 3 kills so far. CR4ZY is left in a 1v2. Has to clutch out with one more than what Murbit already has, and he had the chance, but not quite a capability. And it all comes down to Murbit putting up a monster defense, but the CT still have enough money for one more round. This is the round which you have to somehow creep past Crazy in, because alternate attacks, if you win this one, CT side economy is going to be in shambles. There is a legitimate chance of overtime.
Yep, this is playing with it all at stake. And ATTAX, they have a firm idea as to what they want to do. Fast play towards B. The flash is over. They bombard Crazy. Now they push on through the SMG. Cressy, the first one out, hits the deck early. Demq able to get the first. Sensei chimes in with one as well. Demq still mastering around the bomb site, but Slacks tracks him down. Mirbit again. 2 kills to find this bomb site open for business for ATTAX. The rotation a little too late from Sensei and CR4ZY. And can ATTAX hold on?
That is the magic question. Crazy. I wouldn't hate them for going for a save here, but they're feeling themselves. They're feeling like it's time to get in and get busy. They've even got themselves a rifle upgraded. The AWP hits a good shot. Nade will follow through, and that should be getting the kill, but Murbit is there with the trade again. 3 kills for the man himself. Murbit is not going to let this one go, despite Crazy starting things off in a 4v3 after the initial exchange. Murbit is a monster. He is a force of nature at this point.
And a force to be reckoned with that isn't quite done yet. He's hunting around trying to see if he can get CR4ZY or Sensei's AWP out of his hands, and while he will fail in doing so, he has succeeded for ATTAX back-to-back rounds.
Yes. And he wasn't having the greatest of games. Before that, he was 11 and 14. Now, suddenly, he has catapulted himself across. Before, it was all the Slacks show. Slacks is sitting on 30 kills and 15 deaths right now. We talked about how Slacks is insane and how it's crazy that they actually found a great replacement for Mantu. And now, Murbit's the one stepping up.
Well, they'll go for it again. Smokes the flashes over towards B. They'll sail. This time up against Pistol, so a bit more of a dangerous endeavor. Toxic with the first kill all in. They don't jump themselves out. Toxic missed shots. Demq, the jump knife. Surely not. I mean, that's hardly a trick shot, but that is fancy. Still.
That's insane. What do you mean that's hardly a trick shot?
I just can't believe he's gone for it. I'm in awe.
Crazy's won the round. I don't care if they've lost it, but they've won the round for me. They've won my heart, you know.
Yeah. That's a crowd pleaser, that one.
Also, not just that, it's actually a lot of good money.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, Crazy does not have good economy. Crazy's economy is in shambles. So Sensei saving this op is important, sure, that's cool, whatever. But Demq getting that extra money, that really pushes their buy forward into what could be alternate attacks' push for overtime. Oh,
CR4ZY, does he get his hands on a rifle? Yes, just barely. So Crazy have a bit more leniency in their buy. Of course, it would have been still a strong one at the end to contest, prevent the overtime from happening, because attacks are certainly fighting back. They've had a great showing in these past few rounds. I wasn't sure if B was going to be the solution, but they're overwhelming Crazy on that side of the map. A timeout called by attacks to orchestrate a plan.
Well,
I thought they needed to put so much more emphasis on mid. I really thought attacks were letting that one slip by, but these flat out plays, whether just going in with the spacing and the executions into these sites, it's been working really well.
it's also... See, it has, but at the same time, it also does seem like it's one of those times where you're just caught in between a rock and a hard place as a Psycho, where he's flashed out. Stefan is coming up with 2 early kills. Demq has got to step up with the op. He needs to find at least 2, if not 3 kills. And the first shot is missed, which is enormous because he's already blocked off on the other side. They don't need to cross. They don't need to peek him. They don't need to push, as they know that all of this utility means that it's almost impossible to retake through market. These Molotovs are going to start coming in. These smokes are going to continue to come in, and they need to make a move on Crazy. Demq finds 1 kill. Molotov is on point from the CT side as well, but it won't really do too much. Now a smoke coming in next to give them some area to maneuver around, but the double op can't clear these angles fast enough. Circus comes out with 1, but Slacks and Stephen will force out that overtime.
What a recovery. We sing the praises of Crazy. They did such a phenomenal job on some of the reactions, rotations, reads on the plays, but attacks don't even give them that much time to react in those last few rounds. Faster plays towards the sites, and Crazy, they lose out. Mirabit, some great performances to even get them to that point before they started rushing in towards these sites. And now it's all reset. You know, regulation, it's over. Now into the overtime. 16k, MR3, 3 rounds of play on either side. And attacks, can they keep this momentum going? Have they found the crux to Crazy?
Slacks. Ooh, smokes. Will prevent him from really coming alive. I don't really know how ATTAX is going to play. That's the thing. I cannot predict it. I have no idea.
By that same logic, neither can Crazy.
Well, hopefully John is better at it than I am.
Well, utility deployed over at B. Attacks backing themselves away. Circus opens up the round. Psycho with the response immediately. Scrunk, had an opportunity, but flubs it. And now a 3 versus 4 to play off of. Now, attacks, although they've got Scrunk on the site, very little to reinforce. Now he's called for his teammates to come on over, see if they can lend a hand, but Crazy are there too. The Molotov, it forces the fight. Psycho flushed out into the open. 2 players close in proximity for Crazy.
Sensei's positioning is going to be key, but so is Demq's. He needs to be able to get these long-range duels, but Sensei's dropped the bomb, and with that, he knows Slacks has to be the one making his move instead. Slacks, however, is really ready to make that move. Unfortunately for him, Demq's on the other side, and with that, he's distracted him for long enough for Toxic to get the kill. 16th round out for Crazy. They would have really hoped to get that slightly earlier.
I feel like that's always the case, right? You sit on 15 for so long, you get into the overtime, you win the round immediately. It's just, why couldn't we do that in regulation? But attacks, it's not smooth sailings. It's not just a continual roll. They play the round out a little bit slower than they did towards the end to force this overtime. Well, Crazy came out ahead in the trade game. It's a very individual fights being taken by ATTAX as well in these past few rounds. Slack's taking a lot of damage to open things out. They'll actually attempt the run boost, even with him being on low HP. A spam could certainly do him in, but he gets away with his life. Shots by Sensei. He signals the ult was on short. Still an open chance to reposition on both sides.
Grunk. Flashbang coming out to allow Murbet a little bit more ease of entry, but I don't think that actually caught out anyone inside Connector. And Connector is feeling quite well defended. DamQ yet again from short. Looking for trouble, looking for blood. But so far, ATTAX has not quite decided where they want to be headed over to. Resmoke comes in for the sniper's nest. 2 players over towards the B apartment. Seems to say that Crazy really thinks they're coming over. Murbit has been flashed initially, but he's more worried about someone inside ladder room than actually in short. And here they go. Crossfire from Crazy, ready to take them down. DamQ spraying through. Crazy needs to make a move. Sergej from inside the sandwich, hoping for the Palace flare first, but Psycho's almost got the double spray down. Sergej comes in with one as well. Psycho's still alive, still kicking, and he's kicking their heads in with Toxic right by his side. Toxic has counted out the last player. It's Grunk to take a knee and Crazy to take 17.
So well played by Psycho. Gets the 1 kill, plays the cubby. No utility to flush him out into the open. He finds the perfect timing as they look to push him down. These slower rounds, man, it hasn't been working out for ATTAX. Crazy. It feeds right into this passive style of play. Very disciplined, not over pushing, not getting overzealous. And while ATTAX, they'll go back to it. They'll go back to fast pace. They'll see if they can overwhelm Crazy once more on A. And Scrunk, he leads the charge, but he's taken down by Psycho. The flash is good as well. DamQ fully blinded up. In fact, they're getting bombarded by flashbang. Sensei cheating past the smokes, and he falls as well. So now a equal exchange on this site and some space for ATTAX to work with. The flank is ever ensuing though. Sergej is coming in from that back lines. He might be a bit too late, but Psycho's buying him more and more time.
And Psycho just darting around those smokes, like you said, is such a problem. He is very much uncontrollable by the terrorist side. And the T's know that in the 4v3 they need to be able to find a quick pick first, but they just aren't being given it. There is still Sergej in the back lines. He is waiting to strike. He is waiting to swing out from Palace. And that's exactly the cue for Crazy to call him out. Sergej is coming through. He will not see Cressy initially. And that could be their undoing. Sergej is looking. He's checking all the angles. And Cressy will find him out. He waited too long, but Toxic is still here. And Toxic has got all the information in the world, but not too much in the way of utility. Now it's Stefan and Cressy, though, to shut them down. Toxic just couldn't quite get his angles right. Unfortunately, Crazy can't get that 18. But alternate attacks, man. What a way for Cressy to recover.
Yeah, a great recovery there in the post plan. I thought for sure the flank was going to be a huge problem, but Cressy coming out ahead in that one is exactly what they needed. And now we go back to unfamiliar territory. It's been a while since they've been on each respective side. The same strategies will be employed. The double up setup that we see from ATTAX, it was lacking there on Crazy. They didn't have a secondary player to pick that one up. And while Crazy looked to remember their T side, there were some darted woes, but overall still very solid. So nothing that ATTAX can sleep on. Slack's angle being held with the AWP. The flash is good to allow the cross, and well, mid control is on the cards once again for Crazy, as it was for most of regulation. ATTAX, they are not backing down from those fights. They've still got a lot of presence there.
Murbit. Oh, what is this? Is that a one-way? I think that's a one-way. I don't know.
That seemed like a mistake. I think he's thrown too early.
Okay. Well, Maybe Crazy is confused by that though. And maybe Crazy is thinking, what's going on? Why is there a smoke blooming? Is it a one-way? You know, they're thinking the same thing as me. Next level plays from ATTAX right there. You know it. Murbit peeks out. Beautiful headshot onto Toxic as well. The follow-up, and with that, they should know that this is an A-side hit coming in. Stefan will be rotating back soon enough. Cressy playing around the smoke. Needs to be able to find these early kills. Flashbang will not matter, but he's been shot down through the smoke. Sergey just left-clicking and pressing W together. Skrunk will be his next victim, and Slacks is looking for a few casualties to his own name as well. But so far, he himself might be the casualty. Stefan, yet again, forced out. Bomb is down. Slacks' position known along with Stefan, but Slacks is a monster. Unfortunately, not quite enough to stop Crazy from getting to map point.
Crazy are so patient on the progression. ATTAX, try as they might. The 1-for-1s are not ever going to favor you, Crazy. Now just need one more round. One more mistake. Thought for sure the fact that Slacks gets that kill, or Mirbit, sorry, in towards the B apartments would have been that difference maker. Give ATTAX that edge. They make it work 4 versus 5 nonetheless. And again, same standard default here from Crazy. A bit of middle emphasis, a bit of pressure towards the apartments as well. And ATTAX, you can see they've changed their focus. They still looking for opening opportunities over at A. They went for picks time and time again at the start of this game. And now in overtime, it matters all that much more. Crazy. Still probing around the map. A bit of damage done towards Cressy, and ATTAX, they're kind of conceding mid-control here.
Well, I'm worried about Demq's position over here, though. Demq is going to go down to Slacks, and with that, they've got full information that this is no sort of presence over outside of A cave, inside Palace, and with that, the positioning from alternate attacks is going to be so incredibly certain. Sturgis revealed himself inside ladder room. Drunk will have heard him there. But it's the first kill to come in. That's Cressy to fall. Can they find Slacks? He's got a quick shot, but that didn't quite connect with Psycho directly. It was through a wall, and instead it ends up being Slacks to fall. Stefan now mollied into a corner, is trying to fight back. Toxic gets 1, Toxic gets 2, and there you have it. Crazy up to 19. What a way to do it. Alternate attacks, competitive throughout, but not at the very end, unfortunately.
Yeah, by and large, we sing our praises for Crazy, but ATTAX, what a performance to bounce back. They had some great showings from Mirbit, Cressy. You had the AWP of Slacks just being a consistent factor throughout that entire game. Coming into it, I thought this was going to be a bit more one-sided. I thought Crazy would have that edge, but it took them a long while to find that sort of fundamental groove to get back into. And even still, when they have individual performances like that from the ATTAX players, it becomes harder to rely on the fundamentals because they still need to hit their shots.
I mean, Murbit as well. Huge shout out to him. He was the reason why they even got to overtime. There were so many places where Crazy had the advantage, but Murbit's like, I've got a 3K, boys.
Yep.
Don't worry, I've got this. It literally seemed like that's what the comms were in there, because Murbit would just take control, and he went from being 11 kills and 17, that's a very pedestrian scorelines, to immediately after coming up to 18, 17. It seems average, but really, it was just insane. With that being said, though, huge shout out to the Crazy players as well. Sergis, the one who actually touched that 30 bomb. Sensei had his glorious moments, and Toxic, who for my money was really the MVP. It's not done yet, though, as I'm sure you guys are very excited to hear, as am I. There's still at least one more and potentially 2 more maps to go. Vertigo, and if it comes to it, Inferno up in the menu. And we'll be back in just a bit to serve you those tasty, tasty treats.
Nice shot. Lock and load.
Wow, very good. Let me show you how it is done. Yeah, no. Woo, damn! That was one of the best tickle fights I've been to.
shot. Lock and load.
Wow, very good. Let me show you how it is done. Yeah, no. Woo, damn! That was one of the best tickle fights I've been to.
Welcome back. We've got ourselves Malta Vibes brought to you by Gaming Malta, home of gaming excellence. And what a game we just had. It was crazy going up against ATTAX in a fantastic overtime series. Great plays all around from either team. Back and forth. Sometimes Crazy's in the lead, sometimes ATTAX in the lead. Sometimes you think, hoo-ha, a good old-fashioned, great back and forth action movie. That's what we got for ourselves in that map. Almost as long as one, too. And I'm hoping that the second one shouldn't disappoint you.
Yeah, I mean, we move now into territory which ATTAX are all too familiar with. Sure, they can see Mirage, a great showing from them overall. It was going to be a lot more one-sided, but now that we head into Vertigo, this is their bread and butter. This is their best map by far in the pool, and one that teams will kind of emulate as well. You see some strategies that will kind of culminate out of the ATTAX lineup into higher stages of play, because that's where a lot of the innovation happens. And ATTAX are a very, very good team to observe and watch on this map. But Crazy aren't too shy from Vertigo either. So it's, although we sort of talk about that and the idea that ATTAX will have this edge, Crazy were really, really impressive on Mirage. And I think even with it being such a close scoreline, I think we're kind of in for a long roller coaster once again.
Well, listen, I know we can talk all about how, Crazy is also very good on Vertigo as well because their percentage is great. But when you actually look at the kind of opponents they're facing, these are not opponents who actually play Vertigo. So the best opponent they actually faced so far, I would say, has been Saw, who they beat pretty convincingly 16-9. But Saw's win rate on Vertigo in itself is not great. Saw doesn't play it very often. Similarly, Fate, not a Vertigo team either. LDLC is kind of a Vertigo team, but LDLC's level isn't that high overall compared to alternate attacks, I would say. And all in all, yes, they have some good wins, but every time they've gone up against a team which plays it perhaps a little bit more. They went up against Aves. They got 6-16 by it earlier on this week. A couple of months ago, they went up against Ultra Attacks and they got 10-16. So not the brightest signs of life, but I agree with you. There's no reason why they can't come out on top, given how it can be a bit of a brawly map sometimes, especially.
Yeah, especially when we kind of factor in that ATTAX, by and large, when we looked at their Mirage, we're going very execute centric, and we know they like to sort of go for these slower approaches at times on these sites. Crazy on the rotations have been a pretty exemplary example of how things can play out when you rotate effectively. You get those early signals, and just having utility kind of thrown in about. Of course, ATTAX will be prepared for that. They're prepared for a bit more of a slog or a brawl, like you were saying. Like, this is a bit of a toss up, and I think although we'll give the advantage to ATTAX as it is their map pick, and like you said, they play against some very strong teams on this map. I don't know, man. I'm the more we get to watch, the more I kind of am giving a bit more respect, I think, to Crazy than I otherwise would have.
While Crazy definitely have earned it at this point with the kind of performance they were able to put up in their previous game. But It was overtime. Let's not beat around that bush. It was a map that they probably should have been a lot more convincing in. And although alternate attacks look great and they look much more practiced, Vertigo is going to be a different playing field altogether. And I am definitely very worried. And I think third map should be in the cards. However, never really know. Let's jump into the knife round, though, and we can see exactly how things turned out.
Yep, you'd expect that more so for Crazy. They'll be happy with a CT side start. I think ATTAX will be comfortable either way, so no real surprises there. And I think one of the hallmarks we'll get to see is, I mean, we saw Vertigo earlier on in the day. The missed utility was a big part of one of the signs that, you know, maybe not the most well-practiced, most well-versed on the map. And so you kind of hope that none of that really occurs, given that ATTAX will be able to capitalize that full force. They're used to seeing those small mistakes and having kind of not so much protocols based on the mistakes, but you expect them to be able to capitalize. Yeah.
Well, I agree. At the same time, you shouldn't be expecting this to be a whitewash in the sense that one team will be making all the mistakes in the world and the other teams just, okay, yeah, we'll just capitalize off the back of that. It is a little bit more nuanced. You should at the very least be expecting some outplays to be coming through and a lot of individuals stepping up on either side, which is going to be a requisite for each team. Yes, they both have their tactical foundations down and ready. I agree entirely. But you can't really dispute the fact that both these teams do have individuals that can and do very often step up for them to get those incredibly difficult wins. Even in the previous game, we saw Slacks on 35 kills.
Yeah. And some really high impact frags from Mirba to even get them further into the game. Even with a great performance from Slacks, it wasn't quite enough to give them that edge, and it had to be those step-up moments.
Yes. The problem, though, is, like you mentioned, there are places where I can definitely see Murbit needing to come alive a little bit earlier and a little bit more. Stefan wasn't really having the best of times either. I know he likes to play that B-bomb site on this map. He plays more of an anchor position and he can be incredibly impactful, but if his aim isn't really coming through, that will be a sore thumb sticking out to be chopped out like nothing else. So looking forward to seeing how alternate attacks adjust going into this. They definitely had some individual problems when it came into Mirage, but hopefully this one will be different. The Loot Bet definitely seems to think, though. Our partners over at the site have given us a 137 to 293 odds. I think that might be a bit steep, but I don't know. Maybe it's fair, actually.
Yeah, well, I would agree. There's a lot to take away from that first map in terms of giving them a bit more respect. Yeah, the stats don't lie. ATTAX, this is probably the best map in the pool, and we'll see that if they can show us exactly why. Fast play in towards A with the pistol round underway. Sensei caught behind smokes, and while the A-bomb site is very much exposed, the utility already being lined up by Crazy, something that was missing when we saw Vertigo early on into the day. The nade sails over, so much damage done towards Stefan, but still a retake. Stefan able to avoid the bombardment.
Unfortunately, Demq did not quite line up his nade the same way. If he had done so, Stefan would have gone down before that happened, but I think he kept it expecting Stefan to perhaps fake out the bomb plant once or twice. If not, Nate can be very good at clearing out the sandbags as well, but Cressy is around the corner as well. Round in Rams, there goes that nade, finds a quick kill. Sensei's followed it up with two more, and Murbit and Slacks can fight back as much as they want, but there's not enough time. They're trying to fight into these terrorist players, but Doxic, all he's trying to do is make sure that they go down with the bomb when he does as well. Unfortunately, that simply is not. A site really isn't much to speak of.
Yeah, the desperate attempt there by Circus to recover the kit. I think he picked it up sooner than he thought, but his teammates unable to cover. Good signs, I think, still for Crazy. The fact they have some protocols in place for an A-side attack, but ATTAX play out the post plants fantastically. Holding on to such crucial positions, and now up against the pistols, the predominantly SMG bought round from them. And oh, they're going for a triple boost. They're hoping to catch Mirbit investigating things in through middle. Sergis, oh, he spots him running away, but that's not going to be information that he can work off of.
Indeed. Well, they are going to be able to rotate back soon because that is a triple boost in mid, which means that a lot of the disadvantages of the triple boost aren't quite there. The B bomb side is going to be left entirely, but with full USBs, you're not really going to retake A. At this point, it's all about making sure you die to the AKs rather than the Mac 10s, and that's really the best case scenario that you could pull out of the hat.
Kind of surprised that the SMGs are playing this disciplined. I thought they'd be hot on their heels. They hear these USBs firing off rapidly. That should just be an early indicator like, yep, it's farming time, boys. Scrunk there with the kills. Actually, Stefan nabs them from under him, but still another SMG frag found. And while the SMGs do most of the sweeping up, there's a solitary kill there from Slacks at the end. ATTAX, they're just waiting for that right time to strike.
And they find it. So with that, look at that, man. Scrunk and Stefan really teaming up. I think Stefan is probably happier with that. Scrunk is a little bit upset that 2 of his kills were stolen away, but it is how it is. Crazy, though, have now pulled out the full rifle by 2 pharmacists as well as a kit being purchased up. I do appreciate that they've got full head armor except for on Toxic. The Mac 10s can be incredibly deadly to work around with. As much of a critical person I am of head armor on the CT side, this one is definitely justified. Sergey's, however, tagged down pretty heavily early on. Not the best of sights.
Yeah, and you can see he's a bit frustrated. Not really given too many chances in this round. A bit of a greedy push here from ATTAX. The fact that they don't upgrade one of these SMGs over. Usually a proponent of at least 3 rifles on that T side. But we'll see if they can make it work. We'll see with the tag damage done that makes Sergez a lot more susceptible. And crazy, they want to fight for ramp control. Flash is on through the Molotov as well to prevent the boost on sandbags. They'll actually get Demq into a position for sandbags of his own. Sensei, first kill in, the spamming from Psycho. They don't find too much, but maybe Demq goes unchecked.
Demq's position is huge, you're right. This is where he could be the complete difference maker. They are not checking game. He just needs to swing out, but he's so worried that there could be someone who's immediately coming in. Stefan and Demq, they're going to be meeting each other. Bombs not being planted just quite yet. They could just ask for utility. Demq gets one, but he can't stop the bomb from being planted. Sensei, however, comes in and comes up big. Slacks left in a 1v3. 2 players so low, but so is he. Sensei finishes him off with just a single point of HP left, and unfortunately, alternate attacks do get the bomb plant, so the money they'll have is actually fairly respectable, but a very, very close affair, even if it does end up being 3 CT players kept alive.
Yeah, you have to feel for Demq there. He plays it so patiently. He waits the longest amount of time such that the plant is being committed to, and he can line up another frag as well. But then a late round flashbang kind of throws a bit of a spanner in the works. Could have been a much more convincing round for that CT side had that not been thrown. And now ATTAX, they invest into the rifles that were somewhat lacking in the previous. The AWP on Slacks, the AKs out in spades. And now we get to catch a glimpse of a more default-oriented style from ATTAX.
ATTAX have taken a little bit of damage though early on. Scrunk already down to 5 HP. That is not going to be too pretty for him. At the same time, the B-bomb site is not going to be attacked. They've taken full mid control though on the attack side, and maybe they can try and work off of that. Murbit still yet to decide where exactly he's going. Seems like ramp will be the destination. There is a fair bit of utility on the CT side though. Smoke comes out from Sensei early on. This should be followed up by some spam. Cressy, however, checking for this angle. Will they be spraying through? They've used the flashbang, but they're not checking. Sensei can come through with 2 quick kills. Circus as well to take down Stephen. Sensei still coming, still darting around the scaffolding, finds another one yet again, and he's taken down finally by Murder. Demq fighting back, but not quite enough. It's still a 2 versus 3, entirely doable for alternate attacks. They managed to bring it together one way or another. Murbit and Slacks, the heroes of Mirage, here again.
Yeah, the double smoke's down. Mirbit trying to plant such that he doesn't get spammed successfully. The fake at first, the spam met there on the other side. Slack's trying his best to cover. This needs to go down. 25 seconds left in the clock. Mirbit, the smokes have faded. You've lost your cover, but he finds the frag. He equalizes the affair. That secondary smoke, it was later. It has a bit more time left on it, but there's the push. There's the push from Psycho, and Toxic seals in the last kill for Crazy. It was sporadic. It was chaotic on that side. How does Sensei get away with that is the big question.
Well, one way or another, they just don't check the angle. And there you have it. Alternate attacks off the back of one crucial mistake have let Crazy equalize. And that round really should have been ATTAX's. The way Mirbit was able to perform, Mirbit was able to clean things together, and ATTAX are not happy with it. They've gone for the force buy immediately afterwards. This time, there is no smoke in front of them, so Sensei can just have a grand old time with the AWP, see what he can find. I like that he's getting this aggressive, though. This is incredibly important.
Such high impact in the last round. Now with the AWP at play, the flash on through, it's not going to hit Sensei up, but Sergis is there to cover the cross, allow him for the full retreat in towards the site. They give up ramp control. They allow attacks out. And they're hoping to get some distance here. They've bought the armor alongside these Deagles, so these fights can still, of course, go their way. A couple missed headshots on these M4s could be their undoing, and Crazy looking to retake a bit more control. The jump spot in from Demq, not getting any information as of yet. ATTAX, no noise after the initial push on through. And now the steps made, the flash is over. They're looking to approach this A-bomb site. Crazy, they haven't rotated those B-side defenders in yet.
Demq and Sergis next to Ali need to find this first kill so that they can make sure they have the continual pincer defense going on. Sergis moving in, waiting for Cressy to take a peek out, but Sensei can't do anything to support. Demq and Sergis need to do everything, and they have delivered. Mirbit left on 11 HP. Can he find a single kill? No, he cannot. 3 for 2, and Crazy take that round with all 5 players kept alive. Money now starts to be built up. Alternate attacks on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, though.
I get to see the action as it transfolds. The lineup there for Demq. That is as ideal as it gets. And well, a pause call, not tactical in nature. ATTAX, they're not going to have, like you said, the money to afford up a buy. Instead of winning the pistol, the round to follow. Now that Crazy have got their hands on these rifles, it becomes more and more difficult. We haven't seen anything overly aggressive from the CT side either. Quite often we'll see teams look for sort of early presence towards A, sort of stack 3 players in that position, try and take those fights early on, then back themselves away. Crazy have been deploying those smokes. They've sort of feigned that presence, but they've only really been relying on a couple of players behind them to keep attacks at bay.
I mean, at this point, ATTAX needs to find some sort of a pick towards mid, in my opinion. Like, entering either site is incredibly difficult with the way Crazy are playing, because if you're trying to go even onto the B side, the problem is more that Crazy is happy to play for a retake, and the way their singular or even sometimes 2 players are positioned is just to get a kill and back off. It's all about survival there. And ATTAX is unlikely to be able to pull out those kind of retakes. So this technical timeout will give them some time to think about it. Maybe some mid plays could come out, you never really know. But of course, not being able to contest ramp is a very problematic ordeal.
Yeah, it seems like Crazy are just getting so much control, and ATTAX don't have the response as of yet. Obviously missing out on a few guns in some of the rounds. Even still, the fact that Sensei has gotten off to such a hot start, and he's the one that's holding down that position for Crazy. There needs to be something to address that now AWP presence that he provides that direction.
And
I think that's what I think that's what we sort of see from ATTAX, especially when they're playing against teams they respect a lot more. I think on maps like Vertigo is that they do put more sort of emphasis on middle just to see if they can exploit any sort of a split opportunity.
Oh dear, Sensei misses that shot, and that means he's got to come through with a deagle. He does at least capitalize over there, though. Alternate attacks almost got gifted an AWP into their hands, but Sensei is still good for that kill, fortunately. Sergez is also ahead. Right, some more backup. Attacks have actually bought up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But not really finding anything.
Oh, damn cute. Keeping things on lock in towards middle. It's just Cressy tagged down to low HP. Toxic more than happy to take this fight because he knows he's tagged him low, and the nade will seal in the round. It's instead just from up high that blows him to smithereens. A valiant effort from Skrunk. He tried to be the God of Thunder in that round, but that was ultimately why Sensei got away with the kill.
Yeah, because he tried to be thunder, not lightning. Thunder's just loud. Lightning is zing. You know?
Yeah, true.
A common misconception. It's all right, go. I'm here with all the science you guys need.
No, you've hurt my feelings now. That's it. I'm done.
Ayumi, listen, man. It's all right. I will teach you the power of lightning. You just gotta say zing 3 times in a row, and then
Yeah, I'm not doing that. You're not getting me to say zing.
3 times in a row.
Not more than once.
Oh well. Alternate attacks, wouldn't mind some zingers here or there though. Not really in trouble yet, but give them a few more rounds on Crazy's side, and let's see the German team quiver and shake. Remember, this is their home map. Like, this is literally the map for alternate attacks.
Yeah.
So being able to come out with a confident pick and a confident win over here is incredibly important. And if they can't do that, honestly, I will say that they would probably not have a great time in the rest of the playoffs either.
Yeah, coming into it, we were kind of expecting each team to win their respective map pick, right? Crazy have accomplished their goal. The fact it gets to overtime, that's a pretty good sign for ATTAX, considering it is one of their worst maps in the pool, in spite of the fact that, well, they play so many maps, so there's bound to be some weaknesses. But Crazy, yeah, a good start from them means that things could be shaken up from the ATTAX camp. The idea of it, the concept, is supposed to be that they're supposed to be on the other side of the coin. They're supposed to be having a good time.
Well, I don't know, man.
Probably doesn't help.
Who's really supposed to be having a good time in the world? Yeah, Yumi? Who?
I mean, that sounds like a very philosophical question. I don't think we can quite encapsulate that in the broadcast. I mean,
I believe in you.
You do you, you know? You be as happy as you want to be. Obviously, it's not. It doesn't always come down to that.
Of course, that's
always come down to that. Yeah, easier said than done. It's like, oh yeah, it's just a state of mind, bro. Yeah, it's just a state of mind.
It's all about what you believe, bro.
Yeah, I don't really believe in that, but I think there's something to be said about coming in with the right state of mind for any task that may be ahead of you.
Indeed.
And
while we're sorry, you know, you have an actual point to make about the game. I was just about to make another dumb point about philosophy. You go ahead.
I just can't imagine that the idea of a comeback, or I mean, Crazy getting a bit of momentum. These pauses, I mean, they slow things down pretty significantly. And although it's not something that's within anyone's control, it gives ATTAX some time to reflect.
You know what this reminds me of when you mentioned that it's not under anyone's control, since we still have a few seconds while match medic goes on. I still remember back when that really shady Flash team from China in the Asian Minor, I think it was for the Face at London. They someone came and they got the internet lines of their opponents.
Oh right, yeah.
By literally drilling underground outside their house and cutting their wires, so that they would end up losing the match. It was insanity.
Yeah, that's an outplay. Not one that we traditionally see.
Yeah, that's the ultimate flank. Speaking of ultimate flanks, Sensei was trying to go for one of those, but unfortunately for him, Slacks is quite good with the AWP, and he ends up going down.
And they get their hands on a buy, and they're looking to take ramp control quickly. CR4ZY, oh, crucial fight to win. That would have been a very exposed A bomb site had he fallen. Instead, ATTAX may need to reconsider. They've not really put too much emphasis towards B thus far in this game. 6 rounds of play, and they've been hammering this A bomb site, and CR4ZY are rotating accordingly. 3 players now in close position to contest.
Grunk really expects his boost to be coming through because they went for it earlier, but it reveals his position and he just gets double naded out immediately to 50 HP. Not a great place to be if you're Skrunk. CR4ZY as well, he's actually quite aggressive with his low HP, slightly surprising, but Skrunk, again, there you go, Molly right to your feet. Cressy, however, has got bullets, and those hurt quite a bit more than just utility.
Yep, another pick towards this A bomb site, and ATTAX begin their approach. Now the Molotovs fling on through. Mirbit this position, the lurking presence over towards middle. He's actually hoping to clear a path towards the B bomb site, and ATTAX, yeah, they're backing out. They're going to rotate round because Mirbit has such a strong angle to prevent the rotation back.
Oh, the angle is great, and Toxic is down. With that, CR4ZY should not really be able to win this one. A nice flashbang follow-up will get him. He had another kill. Psycho versus 4. This is a done deal, and comes around right as you were saying. Oh, hey, ATTAX isn't really putting any effort into B. There you go.
Yeah, it's not quite the effort I was looking for. I thought they'd go for more an execute style, as they have been for most of this series thus far. But yeah, I mean, if Mirbit can clear out that much space without really having to do much of anything, just listen for footsteps, play it patient, then of course ATTAX will feel happy to take rounds like that out from under CR4ZY's feet. You'd expect now that because that's happened, CR4ZY will dedicate an anchor player to each of these sites just so that doesn't happen again. But maybe a rhythm breaker here from ATTAX.
CR4ZY's flashbang goes in deep. DamQ's wondering if he can push through off the back of that, but they need a secondary flash. That's thrown by Sensei. It comes through, and DamQ is down. Stefan was already spraying, and you know, his prayers have been answered. Spray and pray. Sensei, however, he is more of a heretic. He's not having his prayers answered. He has been forsaken.
Yep, and with everything crumbling over towards A, ATTAX make short work of it. Now moving in closer and closer to clear out the site. They still don't know where the last 2 players on CR4ZY are, so they're still being a bit cautious. But of course we can see they are setting up to save. They know that this is pretty much a done deal.
It is indeed the final goodbye for them in this round, but if they save over here, Sensei does still have enough money for an AWP. You can still drop over a gun from Psycho into the hands of CR4ZY, so yeah, you have a respectable buy in the next round. If you save both weapons, though. The adjustment needs to come in, and Skrunk, well, he is the next casualty. Mirbit should know that Psycho has actually made his way towards the side, but Mirbit is not willing to venture forward either. He himself is slightly worried about his HP. Sorry, not his HP, his economy, and for good reason.
And while the idea is certainly there for CR4ZY, they seem to have a plan coming into the round, a bit of aggression through the smoke, as ATTAX have been playing behind it multiple times. The unfortunate circumstance is that, well, Stefan gets those 2 kills, and while Sensei, I think, tried as he might have with the M4 as well. I mean, you get 3 clean entries, ATTAX are always going to have a really good go of things. You can rotate all you like, you can try and outplay them, but the numbers advantage cannot be understated. And now we equalize. We're back into 4-4, and this is a swingable round now for ATTAX. They win this as an easier one ahead of them. They've got the AWP out on Sensei to hopefully put a bit of a dampener on things. CR4ZY have had a good half to start things off. ATTAX certainly fighting back, though.
Psycho is going to be a bit of an issue, but first and foremost should be the deal coming up between DamQ and Mirbit. as they were boosted up onto each other. Flashbangs and company all flying through. Toxic is ready with the M4. He's not going to be able to find anything though, as he's continually blind. The white screen of death will lead to that death. Sergiz is here to back up Demq though, but Demq is spotted regardless. Sergiz needs to step up at 2 versus 4, and he's just backing off, man. Auto attacks. They're suddenly looking very, very, very in control.
Yeah, what a display. You can see why this is a big map for the ATTAX lineup. The timings on those flashbangs were absolutely perfect. There was just no opportunity to fight back from those B-site defenders. And I mean, you get flashed, you turn away, you expect another flash right off the back of it, and as you turned around, there was another one. They just don't stop coming. Well, Psycho will eliminate a bit of a hunt there from Mirbit. It's still an ATTAX round that they are more than happy with. A great execute towards B.
And now, like you said before, this is one of the more rollover and die rounds for Crazy. Unless they choose to invest, they could technically drop some weapons. I would really dislike that personally, but they've gone for the pause. They want to think it out. And what I really like, though, is the fact that we've got our boys over at Hellcase partnered up with us, who are the biggest and most known case opening website with almost 100 cases, updated case battle, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolutely unique features. You won't get bored with Hellcase. Use promo codes to save more and grab what you want. Hellcase. That's what it is.
And well, a timeout will be called by Crazy. I think they're considering it. They're considering their options. Do we buy up around this? And I think they've made the more disciplined of the two. Just the saved weapons over, some pistols, some utility surrounding it. Sergiz invests in the kit as well. Psycho has one on his person, but likely playing on other sides of the map. And we'll see if Crazy can surprise us. There shouldn't be too much of that. ATTAX will obviously have it in their minds that they saved those weapons over, but I mean, Demq's gone in an instant. Mirbit to open things up.
Sensei, that shot getting whiffed is unfortunate. It's through the smoke, so it's not really a whiff in all fairness. But he would have really liked to be able to get the equalizer. Meanwhile, Sergiz, I like his positioning over here. This is one of the strongest eagle spots that there is to be able to play, especially given the fact that he does also have a kit, so it gives him a chance to get a kill and get away. It's not just a one and done necessarily. Skrunk, yeah, that's why. See, that's exactly why. It's beautiful stuff. He's going to back off, nade it out as well, and then afterwards, maybe he can even move forward and pick up the AK-47 that was dropped. Give himself a better chance in this round. Psycho turns around, dodges the flash. He can't quite get the first shot. Will re-peek out, and with it, he spots out the bomb as well. He's trying to reposition. He's trying to play around the smoke, but he will be spotted soon enough, but he doesn't go all that far. Cressy around the corner is going to be inside the smoke. Maybe Psycho can move past him and move into the back lines. Will he realize where Cressy is? That smoke is dissipating. He has to know soon enough, but Psycho's play is perfect. He's tracking the bomb and he'll find it. Slacks is down. Cressy's wondering, how did you get there? And now Slacks, well, he's at least got some revenge, but it's still a 2 versus 1. Crazy. The one round which they were not supposed to win. Now they've got a great position to be in, and Sensei just finishes them up. There you have it. Cressy, one small mistake, and that's all it takes. Psycho, beautifully played from him, though.
Yeah, there's no sandwich call out on this map, but he creates his own. He inserts himself between the two ATTAX players, circumvents one via the smoke. And while it was a bit of a... You'd say it's a misplay on Cressy's part. He has to at least hold an angle in which his teammate doesn't get flanked out. It's a pretty ambitious move to have made there just to get into that position in the first place by Crazy. So it shouldn't have happened, but Crazy more than happy to take rounds exactly like it. 5-5 as the commitments come through. Sergiz dancing around between the bullets, and a nade will say he'll pass. Doesn't do really that much damage, but just a bit of presence shown. Sergiz even trying a spam as well.
The 2 players over towards the B-bomb site could be a problem, though. because their rotation time is really long. They've been playing deep in B. They should start to cheat over soon. But it's a very difficult decision to make. Very difficult decision. Sensei brought down though. Skrunk's got a great one tap. CR4ZY wants to follow up, but Molotovs and flashes all coming his way. How will this go?
And Molotov through buys Demku a bit more time, but he's fighting for lane control. He wants to make sure that that's not a two-pronged assault on towards the side. Demku now takes up the reins. There's a low HP in CR4ZY, and he's taken down. Now, maybe they don't know that there's a secondary player here. Maybe they don't know, but they go and full clear it. Demku, not hearing the steps behind him, gets caught off guard and attacks. They're making sure they're meticulous. They're clearing everything, not giving Crazy those chances. Psycho and Toxic to save.
Alternate ATTAX, they really don't hunt, do they? Well, this is the 4th time, maybe 3rd time, that we're seeing 2 players being allowed to save without really any contest. And honestly, a few of the times, Crazy's gone for exit kills. It seems like they're the ones hunting.
Yeah, the only one that seems to be off the leash a little bit is Mirbit. He just kind of investigates by himself most of the time.
If you guys won't take them, I will. I don't know why everyone has all of these very, very growly voices in my head. I imagine them to be battle-scarred, grizzled veterans. So, maybe they just sound like Bob Ross.
One more round, team. Get a bit of Duke Nukem in there. And while impressions won't be the best from us, there's at least a bit of a recovery. Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah, that's kind of what we're going with. Flashbang goes out, and you're right. A bit of a recovery over here from alternate attacks to prevent Crazy from really letting things get out of hand.
No wild cards either from Crazy. No sort of pushes through B. They're respecting the defaults fully from attacks, and well, they'll try their hand at a boost. This has been something that's been checked, spammed, cleared a few times. Hopefully, for the Crazy side of things, they're to go by uncleared.
Well, right now they might just not find anyone at all. It doesn't seem like alternate attacks is in the mood of sending players up anytime soon. CR4ZY is also ready with the Molotov, so if they want to try and spam that down, CR4ZY will just be mulling out that spot immediately, but of course it's very difficult. Sensei waiting, move forward, finds one. Can he find more? He's trying to keep the spray going, but it will not be there. One kill is still good enough. CR4ZY backs off as well. In the meanwhile, they're trying to prevent the take of the site. They do have some utility, but not enough. And Demku barely turns around. This Molotov from CR4ZY, it has got to be huge. He's going to chuck it out. It won't do too much damage, but it will get the kill when Psycho can follow up with a nice nade. 4v3 retake, the game is on.
Just slightly too late on the Molotov. Could have been enough to deny the plant, but now, yeah, the after plants. It comes to play. The smoke on through to deny some angles. Stefan steps up, moving forward, still playing the site. They think it might be clear, but the numbers, it's just all Crazy players in front of him. They can't get anything done. Slack's all that's left, and they're sticking the bomb. They've got it under lock and key because Sensei covers him, and they get the retake to work in their favor. Definitely the most convincing round we've seen now from Crazy in quite some time. When we flip the script a little bit, we look at ATTAX. They've had some flanking players. They've had some good closeouts on these rounds, but primarily when they've been contested, Crazy at least bring it close.
CR4ZY, he's been really good from this angle, to be honest. So I'm really hoping to see a little bit more from him. Crazy, keeping things competitive, like you said, but by a hair. Let's also not beat around that bush. It's not like Crazy is going absolutely insane, and that's why they're on 6-6. They're very much seeming to be trailing behind in their mastery over the map, but they're having a few rounds here and there, which are key important rounds to get them through.
A lot of pressure in through middle. Serg is in with 2. Skrunk and Stefan make sure it's an equal affair. They're still hoping to wrap towards this B bomb site, but Sensei cuts them short. Stefan, that's the bomb. Now exposed and dropped at the feet of Demq, and it has to be a recovery mission. Sensei still scoped in with the up, caught looking the wrong direction, trying to dodge the flash, and now it's all just Demq versus Cressy. Low HP on Demq as well. He has to reposition, play it a little bit sneaky, a little bit smarter.
The problem is, Cressy's picked up the bomb and he is planting it, and Demq, well, when he already used that Molotov, couldn't even try and prevent that. Cressy is going to get the kill, though, as Demq drops down.
That gets oh so close. If Cressy was tagged down even slightly, a round that could very much be under Crazy's belt instead. He survived on 6 HP. A close 1 versus 1. You can see the idea culminating for ATTAX in that round. They built so much mid pressure. They were looking to explode out into that site, but they weren't expecting Crazy to be so fast on those rotations.
Another pause coming out from Crazy. Loss bonus isn't quite nil, but also not quite where they want it to be.
Yeah, this game has been very stop-start with the pauses, so I'm ready. I'm rearing to go, and I'm sure the players are as well, but we get these sort of lapses and these pauses where we get to sort of calm down, let the adrenaline sweep out.
Keep in mind, they did win 1 force buy already, so it's not like these rounds are risk-free, but there isn't all that much risk to them, though. Toxic takes so much damage. I don't even know where Toxic is right now, but he is he's probably up in the air wondering, what the hell should I ever do again? My life is gone. It's done. It's over. There's nothing more I can contribute.
How did he get naded to 4 HP is my big thing, so...
Yes.
That's
I think it's down in
ridiculous.
mid, to be honest. But really good nade, though, regardless. I mean, this is just a USB round, unfortunately, not even any deagle, so as much as I said they did get a force buy win before, shouldn't really be the case. Sergey's good for 1. Like I said before, he's been having a very good time over towards that particular angle. Maybe Sensei can move in, pick up a weapon, find something or the other. He does manage to move past that Molotov, and it seems like they will finally stop checking the angle. Picks up the AK, coming in from behind, gets 1, gets 2, and now it's a 1 versus 1. And that's where a 2v1 actually. Toxic is still alive. I thought he's dead. Never mind. Stefan suddenly is ruining his teammates. And what have they done? Stefan on 51 HP. He can be 1D down on close range, even with a shot to the chest. And Toxic, he will be found, but in doing so, he'll find the information as well. Sensei has done so much. He's got 1 last kill to come through with, 1 more, and that's all it'll take. But Sensei might be too late.
Has to move forward. The time is of the essence. Of course, no armor, no kit, no utility to speak of whatsoever. Stefan can play the mind game. So many positions he could be in the post plant. Taking it up instead towards B ramp. Sensei, the tap, that should flush him out into the open. Is it a bit of a bluff between the two? But he sees him. He spots him out. He moves instead. Says that Sensei needs to drop, and it's a descending kill, but he doesn't have the time. He can't get to the bomb fast enough, and it's enough to win the round. But ATTAX, that is not a clean anti-eco. The pistols, it's just USPs. The singular deagle on Toxic, that is a close round.
I could have gone the other way as well. Just unfortunately for Crazy, they don't have a kit there. It would have been so insane if they'd also just bought a random kit. Just, well, you never know. Maybe we can get something out. But no, they can't quite sneak that one through. ATTAX get as close as you humanly can, but they do at least get the 8th and are in a reasonable enough position for the 9th as well.
And what's crazy about that, right, is because the AK's dropped, the fact that they allow Sensei to recover that, even with impeding past the Molotov, that's ridiculous.
Sergey finds that opening kill. Skrunk, I thought he'd be able to come through that smoke and take him down immediately once that nade in his hand was pulled out. But Crazy is fortunate enough not to just be rushed through the smoke.
Oh, they still hold that narrow lead in the scoreboard alone. Crazy looking to close that gap for when they're inevitably on the T side. And again, they go for this double peek, the double post up in through middle. ATTAX still investigating things over towards A. Sensei playing a passive angle, holding things over towards short. Finally, Mirbit's fallen in towards mid.
Sergey's nice immediate one tap comes out and he backs off while also getting information. Molly comes in, but he's also thrown out one of his own, so bomb can't be planted. Alternate attacks. What should have been, as Slacks takes a lot of damage, interesting. What should have been potentially a 9-6 coming in will end up being crazy equalizing. And so many rounds with alternate attacks let slip. This did not look like a super confident performance on their home map. This looked like they were shaky, they were jittery, and I'm worried about them going into the CT side.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the inability to close out these anti-eco rounds effectively. The fact that there's 2 forest buys, one actually won by Crazy, one very, very close. That has to be a strike to the confidence. But our partners over at Loopbat, they still give ATTAX the edge. 135, sorry, to 305, where I think it's certainly closer than that. And I think we just have to really see how Crazy's set up on this T side to see just how correct they are.
Yeah, I think I'd probably put it at a 180 to 200 maybe. And maybe at 210, something of those lines. But let's see. Alternate attacks, they are going to be taking a bit of a hit early on, but Slax returns fire and his headshot matters a little bit more with that USP. Sergiz is looking for an opponent that's no longer there, and Murbit can now introduce himself with a quick USB headshot. Slax is not done yet, as he's got 3 kills so far. Sensei, however, without the bomb, is going to end up having to say goodbye soon enough. It looked like Crazy would be able to start off nicely, but unfortunately, they didn't realize that Murbit had moved away from the corner pillar, and it took too long to figure that out.
Slacks, man, on these pistol rounds, give this man the USP every single... he's ridiculous on pistols. He's had back-to-back 3Ks on the first map and a 4K to start off their CT half. He's... That's pretty unreal.
That's what I think. That's 3 out of 4 pistols going for alternate attacks now. Yeah, some pretty nasty stuff. All in all, Crazy do not go for the force buy though. I always like to see that from a team. It seems to be such a novel occurrence at this point.
Oh, although they'll take turns getting themselves up the ladder. Rendezvousing into mid. They're hoping to overwhelm Mirbit. The first kills are good from Mirbit. Almost the full spray down. Almost finishes off the ace, but Slacks will pick up exactly that, the slack. And while mid won't be conceded, the rifle won't fall into enemy hands, and things go right for the ATTAX lineup. Not quite the SMGs, didn't farm up the cash, but he's more than happy to deliver those healing blows.
Murbit, that is the... ultimate cleanup. Good stuff from him. Crazy on the other side are now finally going to have their first gun round out. And so far they've been putting quite a bit of emphasis onto mid and B. This time around it is just a straightforward default, more like it. But it ends up going with a quick 1-for-1 trade early on. Psycho couldn't even find out more. He's trying to spray through, but will not connect.
Yeah, maybe it's out of there. He's trying to remain elusive. Psycho finding another kill over. Mirbit recovered the AK. He sneaks through the smoke, and Psycho's caught with his pants down. So an equalizing frag, a crucial double kill for Mirbit to have found. And Crazy, where do they go from here? That fast flank is always an opportunity that ATTAX could really pull through. Oh no, they're going up the ladder.
How is Murbit this good? That's all I have to say about it. Now he does end up falling. It's a 2v2. Sensei follows up as well, leaving Scrunk in a solo position, which is unenviable, but it's not untenable. He can still come through, can still capitalize. He's got a great spot to hide himself in. He didn't quite spot the first player, and that's Sergiz who brings him down. If it was Sensei, man, that was an immediate 1v1 that could have gone his way. Look at this replay, though. Sensei finds one and immediately second one. Murbit, though, what a round from him, Yumi.
Yeah, I don't know how this man is just circumnavigating all of these crazy players, finding a way to go unseen and deal so much damage, but it wasn't enough. I mean, Surges and Sensei, they both survive on 2 and 5 HP respectively. It's still a close round, but the numbers don't lie. They keep 2 up. They win their first gun round. ATTAX on the back foot. It's still a pretty competitive CT half, and if Mirbit's going to be this man unchained on the CT side, I imagine we'll see a few more crazy plays from him yet to see in this half.
Psycho. He's keeping an eye out on Mirbit. Mirbit's not got too much HP, and he is going to take the first kill down, though. Did I say HP? I meant to say firepower. Dear God, what am I saying, Yumi?
Either way, a 1 kill for Mirbit. He's able to back himself away. And actually a conceded rifle over to that territory as well, so maybe it can upgrade, but he has to be concerned about Demq now having a backline position towards A and B respectively.
Demq finding a very interesting spray, but unfortunately, interesting does not always mean good. CR4ZY is left a little bit wanting for company as a result of that. It's a 2 versus 4, and he can't connect. Sensei will get the kill later on, but he doesn't have much HP on his own. He's trying to spray down the CTs, and Cressy, once the smoke clears out, will be able to finish him off. Bomb won't be planted either, and what was that? Okay, I know I was caught unaware. I said HP instead of firepower, but I say that spray was worse than that. Just saying.
I'm glad we're not getting a replay. I don't want to relive that.
Yes.
That is painful. He's in such a good position, and it is squandered.
That's like a Call of Duty player coming to Counter-Strike.
Oh, it was rough. That was really, really rough. I don't know if I can mentally recover, but they're gonna have to do it on the crazy side. They'll have a round to reflect, as it's just the pistols brought through. ATTAX are having a good start to their CT side. Scrunk opening up the round with his FAMAS, and while they'll concede middle control once again, Demq actually lurking himself out at once more. Mirbit and Stefan make sure that they don't get much further than that jump up position.
CR4ZY is nestled away. He doesn't want anything more to do with the world of living. He just wants to sit down in a corner, find some nice books to read, maybe just anything that can give him some sort of peace. Toxic getting a kill would be quite peaceful, but unfortunately for CR4ZY, that is just not going to be found. Crazy, at this point, they will be able to buy up again in the next round, but we need to see something different from them. We need to see them really pull out all the stuff. So far, they've been heavily defaulting. They've not been going for executes. They've not been going for ramp control en masse. And I hope that they're using this time that CR4ZY is buying to talk all about it.
I thought he was disconnected for a second, just how committed he was to that. But yeah, he was really, really trying for a knife. Thought maybe the ATTAX would get overzealous. And well, yeah, I don't think there's any hope. No one will put too much stake in this round, as he might try to upgrade himself into another pistol. I don't think his E was working. He was aggressively aiming and spamming away, and it just didn't pick up. Either way, ATTAX pick up their own round, and they're getting a bit more distance now.
The problem is, I don't see Crazy doing anything but defaults. Have we seen any full executes coming through from them?
No. As of yet, you're right. It's been very pick oriented.
Yeah, and that's very different to how it's, and even their defaults are really different. They're like 2-1-2s to compare to how generally default is played over towards ramp and over towards the B stairs, and just finding some sort of very heavy contest to force out rotations. Now CTs, they are going to take full control of ramp, but Crazy are playing something that Gambit Youngsters plays quite a bit, which is retaking from bridge. Whether or not that's successful, we'll have to wait to find out, though.
No, Scrunk thinks he's got quite a lot of information to play off of. Of course, with Crazy playing so far back, playing, like you said, a retake from just outside of bridge and waiting to pull the pin on that. He will, of course, back himself away. So that early information does go astray. Scrunk, the flash will be heard. He'll get ready to deploy his own utility as well to maybe take the fight to the crazy players. And while he'll spot them out, he'll reposition and attacks. They have an early indicator that the A bomb site may be the target, but crazy haven't quite made up their mind as of yet.
Stefan is alone on this bomb site. He's incredible at being able to hold it at times, but this has to be huge. They're making so much noise over on A, and Sensei will even find that first pick. They're expecting rotations to come through. Cressy's caught off Psycho, and Sensei's position is known. Stefan, however, backed off in the meanwhile. He'll be taking the first contest. He finds one, but not the second. Sergis get overwhelmed, but not continue living for too much longer. As I say that, though, Slacks is also having a bit of his own whiff spray, and he can't quite get that kill. Sensei keeps it going. Somehow or the other, he is single-handedly giving them this bomb site.
And while Mirbit will tuck himself into a corner, this isn't a round that he's looking to contest. Crazy have outmaneuvered them in this instance, trusting a lot in Stefan to be able to lock things down on that B bomb site. Only that one kill, it wasn't quite enough, and the whiffs, man. We're having had a couple now in 3 rounds, and I'm really hoping that things begin to straighten up, because we know that these players are certainly more than capable, but Crazy still win the round nonetheless.
That was a nice little adjustment coming up from Crazy at the very least. They pretend like they're going for a late A take. They actually get themselves an opening pick-off as well, which was very important. Otherwise, you weren't going to see Stefan actually rotating backwards. And then Stefan, at that point, he's just taking too long. Slacks, although he rotated over, it could have still been a kill from him. It could have still been Crazy taking control. But unfortunately, a whiff spray means that is simply not the case. Good nade, though, to start things off from alternate attacks. DemQ is very low.
I don't know that they're going to go for the same deep A side take on the alternate attack side. This time they're just playing in front of it, not deploying those same smokes. Now Scrunk will deploy the utility, make them fight for the retake from bridge, and attacks now have full A ramp control in spite of only committing 1 player over. Scrunk, again, that man that gets the information. Crazy made the right reaction last time around, but attacks, it's the old fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice.
Oops.
You know how it goes.
Is that now how it goes? Fool me twice, whoops.
Yeah, I mean, not quite what I was going for, but you know, I feel like the point gets across.
Well, Crazy's trying to get across onto the A site as well. This time alternate attacks is ready to take a very convincing contest. 2 early kills. Slacks will back up as well. They know the third player is there, and that's where the rotation's coming in from Grassy 4. 3v5, and Slacks hears them all. The problem is that they are still trying to come up this ramp position. Slacks will be mollowed out of position. He knows that they will hear him walking through that. But yeah, 15 seconds, and there's just not enough time.
They made no progress on the site. If they want to even consider this, they have to move quickly. Toxic and Psycho move in quickly, but they just cannot get foothold on the bomb site. Again, attacks had the rotation so early on that they were ready to contest, and Scrunk even shoots him through the wall. Why not? He has his teammate spotting him out, and he does all the rest. You can see a different reaction as well from attacks. They get control, they fall back, but this time they fight to hold and maintain that control. Last time it was Scrunk sort of jump spotting and he fell back and didn't have information as to where Crazy were going. This time they wanted to keep eyes on them.
Crazy need something of a miracle at this point. You need to win this Deagle round. You need to find some crazy shots, but they're just not getting them. Again, DemQ goes down. Scrunk to find that first kill. Attacks is not letting their foot off the pedal whatsoever, and there's nothing that Crazy can do to make them stop. It just isn't happening, unfortunately. Vertigo, like we said before, not the easiest of maps to learn, especially if you're a team without the nice little 6-map pool, and we can see why they're suffering.
And ATTAX making sure that they're in positions that typically would get flushed out by utility, but, well, I mean, expecting a lack thereof on Crazy. They will try and boost a player up to catch them off guard, but ooh, he stops off the head. Stefan just catches a glimpse. Circus is low HP as well. They both get spammed through the wood, and while Psycho surely not long for this world, low HP on him as well. Stefan falls, but Cressy trying to pick up the slack. This would be something worthwhile to witness if Psycho is able to pull this one off, but he's not going to get the chance. 14 for ATTAX. Now a 5-round separation and only a couple more to force a map 3.
Unfortunately, I don't even know what I can say Crazy needs to do differently, because Crazy so far have looked like they don't know the utility properly. And that's a serious issue. When you don't know the one-way smoke on ramp, when you don't know the timings to be able to quickly nade out ramp, when you don't know, when you're not going for something like a run boost on to the B side, just to, just to get something different. Have some good flashes, have something on those lines. But it's just never coming through. And alternate attacks, all they're doing is they're staying in their position, and they're hitting their shots. Yes, the ramp contest is very good, but other than that, they're literally just staying in their position and hitting their shots. That's all that's going on.
Yeah, missing out knowledge is it's a big no-no on this map. It's not had the convenience of being in the pool long enough that there's really no excuse. Teams will, especially when they're on the come up and then new maps are introduced, it's hard to make that adaptation.
It's also so incredibly difficult because no one bugs on this map either. Molotov going out first though. Flashes are there as well. And Skrunk is down first and foremost. At least they're able to find something. And Slacks can't get the trade either. So maybe with the man advantage, they've got something to work around with. Toxic, meanwhile, though, well, they're both still just trying to go for the exact same play. Stefan, maybe he's just thinking, yeah, they're never going to go for the same thing twice. But here they are. Flashbangs galore. They know where he is. He likes to play behind the double boxes. And now Stefan's down. Murbit's being flanked, and Sergis can get that kill. 4 versus 2 alternate attacks. They've got money to go for this if they want to, but not enough to be able to continually keep buying. So they go for the conservative play, and they will be saving.
Yeah, converting that early frag and collapsing on the bomb site. Crazy, make use of that man advantage to full effectiveness. Stretched a bit thin. They didn't have eyes on middle in that flank. It's really what pushed it further forward. Of course, Cressy and Slacks, they'll hold on to these rifles. Doesn't seem like Crazy are putting a concerted effort in tracking them down. You can understand why. The money, not really the best for them. And while they secure double digits, it's a round that all stems off of a smoke towards ramp, that kill on Skrunk that Skrunk seemed to have the upper hand in at first, given that Circus had to fully 180 to even clear that angle. And it is still a round that they will take nonetheless.
The next one is what really decides things, though. This is where it could go either way, but Crazy desperately want it to be coming in towards their hands. Because this is the point where you have the opportunity to actually reset alternate attacks. But you need to find another early pick like you did before. Slacks might not let that happen, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Sturkis, without the one-way smoke, you can almost never get through to the bottom of the scaffoldings. It's so difficult. But it is how it is. They also aren't smoking out from spawn, which is the other problem. Toxic goes down as Skrunk is just flanking him. Crazy knows where things are going wrong. You can tell that. And Cressy and Stefan are going to be added to the tally of things going wrong. Torsensi can get a kill. But like I said before, Crazy knows where things are going wrong, but they're just not able to make the adjustments of utility that they need. You can see that they're moving in. They're trying to find Slacks. They know where he's going to be. But without the smokes, without the flashes, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, wow, what a convincing round from ATTAX. The fact they get that opening pick over towards A, meanwhile they're keeping a solitary player over at B isolated. He's actually in somewhat of a trifecta of angles of threat, where he could get shot in the back from a couple of different angles, and there's a threat in front of him as well. Yeah, certainly not the best. Crazy This is the last chance now in this map. The MAC-10 in DemQ's hands. The AKs are out. Whether they can make adaptations or not, they just barrel on through. Cressy, Scrunk, they get the kills necessary. A smoke deployed as well to prevent them from progressing much further. Psycho, at least a kill on Mirbit in response, but this ramp control, the amount of pressure that Crazy applied early on, they wanted it to go so much better than this.
CR4ZY at least has some space to work around with. That's the main saving grace. But he has to find Scrunk first. Scrunk is playing right around that angle, and he could be taking him down. Psycho needs to contend with Stefan as well. Stefan this time not in his atypical position, but the Molotov will be catching him out as well. They know where he is now, and Stefan, with that, we'll find out that these players perhaps don't really want to contest him directly. Psycho's coming in underneath his feet, and he's going to be spotted out. Stefan tagged up slightly, but he's just wasting so much time. A flashbang as well to go out. And the nade follows up. Not too much damage, but it's all there. And the rotations will be known. Stefan can make the call. Be very aware. They could be coming through mid.
Well, it's on CR4ZY, is on low HP. He's the one that's at least created a bit of space towards A. Cressy, he's playing far back. He doesn't want to get caught out by any of these players. The slow approach that Crazy are implementing, that one flash, the smoke recovered by Sensei, that should buy them enough room. The Molotov, does it land? Does it prevent the plant? Sensei might just have a bit of a gap to work with, but they don't have time to play these games. The bait and switch, singular tag, and there's Sensei. That's it, done, dusted. We're out of Vertigo. They get the kill on the planter, 16-10 for ATTAX. They really rally on that CT side.
And what a game from Alternate Attacks, displaying why it's their home map, displaying that if you don't know the utility, they'll find out, they'll exploit it. You saw Slacks continually going for plays on top of scaffolding, where unless you're smoked off or unless there's utility properly there, you can't really make too much happen. Slacks just had a field day. Similarly, Stefan always knew when they're boosting up, always knew what they're doing, and it seemed like they just continually had their number.
Yeah, they take each other, or the map picks that they came into the series with. We kind of thought it would lean towards ATTAX, but we have Dust 2 now set up for what is a pretty contestable best of 3. Both teams hitting a lot of really good shots.
Yep, and this is where Dust 2 should be interesting. We saw in a little while back, but I'm sure we can talk about it a little bit more after a short break, because the third game is coming up soon, and we definitely need to take 5 before all that action. Go get yourself something to drink, go get yourself something to eat, and I'll be back in just a bit.
Nice shot. Lock and load.
Wow, very good. Let me show you how it is done. Yeah, no. Woo, damn! That was one of the best tickle fights I've been to.
Welcome back to Malta Vibes. This is brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. We've got ourselves map number 3 between Crazy and Alternate Attacks. We had a really back and forth first game, and we were expecting something of the ilk and Vertigo, but that was a bit more Alternate Attack sided. They did really just continue to dominate all the way through. When it comes to Inferno, though, as a decider, Yumi, what's on your mind?
Well, apparently going into the break, I didn't think it was even Inferno. I got caught up too much in the chaos. But yeah, I mean, we moved to Inferno, and I mean, you have to give the edge to attacks. I think if it came to the best of 3, if it went the full distance, I was going to lean that direction. I thought it was going to be 2-1 in attacks' favor, but um, at the same time, the more we're getting to witness Crazy, the more we're getting to sort of understand their play and how they circulate around the map. I'm more and more impressed, especially with a rotationary map like Inferno. I think
Yes.
they'll have a really good go of things. I don't think they'll be missing those key bits of utility like they were on Vertigo.
Yep. I think that's a really good point to bring up, because Inferno is a map where even if you don't play it all too much, you know the utility. So Crazy, they don't have the best of win rates on it, I'll be perfectly honest, so I'm slightly worried for them. But we shouldn't see a whitewash because Crazy has incomplete knowledge. If we see anything of the sort, it should be because Alternate Attacks is just significantly outplaying them. And that's a legitimate possibility. Their second best map. They're running a 61% win rate on that. Obviously, very impressive. They've got some very good scalps as well, but they can sometimes be slightly weak on side. So I'm not entirely sure exactly how to think
I
about that.
We've got a couple match stats on screen. I don't know that those are entirely accurate. I don't think that they are, because I don't think Corey's found 67 kills.
I don't
That's
think Ori's on
uh,
alternate attacks.
yeah, that's those are big questions to answer.
Yes.
But yeah, so either way, jokes aside from that, this is going to be a pretty rough game, I feel like, for Crazy. Although I think they'll have a lot more pieces to the puzzle for Inferno as a whole. When it comes down to the I think the set plays from attacks are going to be that much better. It's just about whether we get that same level of Crazy that we got on Mirage, where they're just reading those plays and reacting very quickly, to see whether they actually edge this one out. But I still have to favor the attacks guys.
I agree with you. I think attacks should be the one coming out on top. A lot of what Mirage was as well was those really good reads. And although those can transpire in Inferno, don't get me wrong, and very often are a major factor to whether or not a team will win it, it is also still Inferno where they're not very used to it. Mirage is still one of their better maps comparatively, in the sense that they've played it a little bit more, and that they're a newer team. It's a lot easier to get your teamwork down on Mirage. Inferno's not too bad either, but Mirage is one of the most straightforward, immediate teamwork maps, just because of how easy it is to translate certain things that you have in bugs towards actual professional play. I'm worried for Crazy. They need a lot coming out from Sensei. They need a lot coming out from Toxic. Toxic had an incredibly quiet Vertigo, and I need him to be coming alive a little bit more.
Yeah, and you can imagine as well if Mirbit, who's had a pretty good series through and through, slacks alongside with him. If Mirbit's just allowed to sort of operate as that lurker, it's a very strong position to hold, and he, even as that lurking presence, just is able to pull up so many multi kills from those positions. It's yeah, I think it's worrying.
Yes.
The elements are there for attacks where if they draw enough attention with these executes, the things will kind of cascade, I think, from there.
Ooh. Now we've got ourselves a slightly more accurate comparison.
Yeah.
It's Sergiz versus Slacks. I just realized Fresh wasn't on Crazy either. He
Yeah,
was actually
no,
on
yeah,
Hellas.
we're this is wrapped up in the numbers as opposed to the players.
Well, Sergiz has had a particularly good game here and there, and especially on the first map, I thought he had some really good moments. But Slacks, it just speaks for itself. 54 and 32. What a performance that he's put up in this series.
Yeah, plus 22 across
Yes.
both the maps. So yeah, they need to find an effective way of keeping that up out of his hands as much as possible. I think that's fair to say. He's been able to pull up so many big performances for the team, even if it hasn't always been the flashiest. Of course, we've sort of talked about him being more of that turret operator. And while that's not the gun he's using, I just mean more so he's good at manning his station and just locking things down. Whereas on the other point, we hope to see a bit more sort of explosive plays from the likes of Sensei.
Well, Cressy and Flax. Oh, Sergey's 1v2 clutch comes out. That's a nice way to start things off. You know what? If that's a sign of things to come, then Crazy are probably pretty happy, all in all. I am, though, like you said, I think I'm worried that alternate attacks might be heavily relying on Merbit's performance a bit too much, though. From Vertigo and to some extent from the last vestiges of Mirage, Merbit has been the one who's been driving them through, and he's not always the player who I would highlight. It's generally Stefan, it's generally Skrunk, it's generally Slacks. Merbit is always there, but he's never the player who I say, oh yeah, this guy is going to go insane and he will be the sole reason why they're winning this. And it seemed like at times on Mirage and on Vertigo both, it did really seem like he was the sole X factor that guaranteed them a round win.
Yeah, he's been really, really clutch for attacks. I think that's underlying truth. And well, I think I want to say Crazy have sort of this better individual style play. They definitely play a bit more separate than attacks set themselves out to be, and they play this more default oriented. I don't think that's gonna really transfer that well to Inferno. I think if we end up in a position like that, you expect to see a few more sort of dastardly plays from the attacks lineup. Especially on the CT side, I don't think attacks are just going to simply sit, wait for the execute, and go for it. They're going to try and get information, try and play that sort of push and pull for map control that I think really lends itself to teams that are adept at a map like Inferno.
I'm really hoping for some sick reads to come out from Crazy, though, the way we saw in Mirage.
Yeah, that was a spectacle.
Some technical delays, unfortunately, coming out, I believe, and we should be able to get it in the game fairly shortly. Skrunk's using that time, however, to have a grand old time with the USP. He knows that when it actually gets to the best round, it's all about Slacks and that USP. How dare he? And Slacks has been very good with the USP too, actually, when you reconsider it. I think alternate attacks have won 3 out of 4 pistol rounds in this entire series, so that is obviously off the back of some great play from Slacks almost every single time, actually. He had... Actually, every single pistol round they won, Slacks managed to get a USP, including on the T side, and get 3 kills.
Yeah, 3K, 3K, 4K.
Yeah.
Next is the ace, so, you know, he's been building up to it, and can he deliver? But he's not going to have his hands on a USP to start things off, and of course our partners over at LootBet, they lean things over to attacks. They're in my camp. They're in our, what we would consider to be the right line of thinking, although Crazy can certainly be one with surprises. Fast play in through middle here from Attack. Sergey's in towards Boiler. He's just playing a baiting game between the two sides, and Sensei, he's been lost. That's the arches opened up. Stefan, a follow-up kill as well. Crazy have lost control of this site so rapidly. Demq gets nothing. Toxic, the unseen player, but the same result. It's a fast play that works wonders for Attacks.
So 4 out of 5 pistols. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Psycho will find 1 quick kill, so some small levels of comfort added to him. But even there, he didn't really have a kit, and even if he did, 1 versus 5 is a slightly daunting possibility, even if he had an AK-47, full head armor, and full utility.
Yeah, they heard us talking trash. They heard us saying Slacks is the best pistol player on the attack side. Well, he's certainly had the stats to back that up. It's the rest of the team that's done the work, and you can't even get around without Slacks getting a USP kill.
How dare he? Why does he have to be like this? Slacks, you're ruining the fun for everyone.
So greedy.
Yeah. He does end up getting the kill, though. I don't know about the AK buy on Slacks, though. Wouldn't have minded him being prioritized for the Mac 10. Just let him be the one who's farming up cash because you want him to have the op, unless you are planning for the 5 AK setup. But with an opera like Slacks, it's very rare that I see that coming out from alternate attacks, so it is definitely possible. Molotovs flying through, flashes as well to boot. Sensei comes in with a quick kill using that deagle, and he will have more come out from Slacks, and that's the unfortunate part of Slacks having an AK. He uses it like a USB, and the CR4ZY is good for 1, but unfortunately, that's all she wrote.
Yep, a potential isolated duel on the A-bomb site. Toxic wrapping himself around as Mirbit investigates with his SMG, but the bomb's going to get planted over at B all the meanwhile. So while Toxic may circumnavigate this one player, this is not seeming that likely. Saving the armor into the following round could have a bit of benefit, but he's trying to get his hands onto one of these rifles where possible. They were dropped in transit, little opportunity for them to be recovered and displaced. He gets his hands on a MAC-10, which ultimately I don't think will do him much good unless he somehow overpowers Mirbit.
Well, he does have armor, but unfortunately positioning is not quite there. So we will see ATTAX come out on top, 2-0, and very soon to be 3 as well. Crazy. Going to be yet more cannon fodder for the MAC-10s.
Yeah, given that they've kept so many of these online, you expect a pretty rapid round. Do nades get bought up by Crazy? Quite often we'll see it on that CT side. A flash, at the very least, so a little bit of utility. A small hurrah.
Nade flies through, won't really be doing much now. You know what, I really want to see a couple of great flashbang kills. They've got a few shots. Psycho follows up as well. Demq too with a quick one. Now with the MAC-10 picked up, but they're not opting to use it. It's a P250, but it can't find the kills. CR4ZY is left in a 1 versus 3. P250 at the ready. Are they going to be checking this angle? Yes, they are. But like you said, could have been a bit more.
Yeah, that flashbang play, they've been setting it up a few times now on Crazy. I think that's the second round in a row. And, well, it works to get those initial kills. ATTAX able to use the superior firepower. Just a little bit of caution as well, just to make that all go their way. It's still a pretty costly round from ATTAX, given that it was just USPs, but keeping that crucial 3 alive. And, well, meticulous stuff from Cressy. This is where I have to answer a lot of questions, though. The AWP is now out on Sensei, and the rifles are available for that CT side. A lot of banana pressure to start things off. Creeping forward does seem like Stefan's trying to take advantage of maybe a gap here in that CT side default.
They're getting ready for the basic flashbang play. Psycho could peek out. Stefan is not going to care. That flashbang's avoided, but the bullets cannot be. Psycho's just too fast, and so is Slacks. Pulls the trigger, and Psycho's been downed. A 4v4 with 2 players inside apartments is very interesting for Crazy, because now we get to see whether or not they have the correct reads, whether or not they can get the calls, and Sensei will get the shots at the very least.
Just a slither, a hairline angle taken. That's the narrow advantage they face. Slacks. He's hit 1 up shot already. It was that trade towards Banana. Now they creep further and further forward. CR4ZY and Demq. Not getting too much information. They don't have those early indicators that can really help cause those rotations on the CT side, but now the smokes will fly on through. Demq, the Molotov could delay them further. 30 seconds on the clock for ATTAX. The Molotov extinguished by a bit of utility, and CR4ZY has to deliver big here. First kill, it's actually Demq. He's drawing the attention away. CR4ZY from up high. They combine wonderfully to lock down B for Crazy.
Crazy do not manage to put Auto ATTAX's money down to a point where they can't buy the AWP, but they're very close to it. This is a good spot to be at. If you can win out 1 more, that would be huge. However, the double op setup has been brought out from Crazy, and if 1 op was that effective, can you imagine how good it would be to have 2? That's just how it works, isn't it?
By that logic, surely 5 is the critical number. Don't think we'll ever get there, though. I'll see if CR4ZY can do his best efforts on this secondary ult. So far, denied many opportunities, spamming away, trying to get some damage in where he can. ultimately no receiving end players on attacks, and they've heard that up. They're rotating back around. They should have the information that a secondary op is in play, so they're still moving in towards Sensei by repositioning.
No kills exchange just quite yet. Sensei? He knows flashes and whatnot are coming over towards him. He's repositioned back inside the site. Toxic needs to land a shot. Cressy around the corner will come out on top though. And with that, it's a 5v4. Sensei needs to come up big with multiple kills. He's flashed out of that angle. Tries to come back in with a no-scope. He's got 2 of them. And the third will come in from behind to finally take him down. He's given them a chance, but it is a slim one.
Oh, Demq's trying to get a position early on before the retake really gets underway. Slacks angle held, but this position now by Cressy. Demq surely, yeah, he doesn't check it. Slacks gets the one, but Cressy does most of the heavy lifting there for ATTAX. A great effort there from Sensei. No scope necessary on that A bomb site, but they just couldn't get enough of the frags necessary to make it that contestable.
Well, unfortunately, it was fool's hope. That's what it was. CT side money ends up being tattered because of it. Otherwise, maybe they just go for the save. Maybe it's tactical. That's what it is. You let him get 2 quick no-scopes. And then CTs feel like they can save. Sorry, they don't need to save. My bad. See, this is what I'm talking about, Yumi. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was an enticing one, at the very least. The only lifeline that they had in that round. Not quite enough. And you'd really expect to see on rounds like this, they've been going for these sort of traditional setups, trying to balance between the arches and the apartments such that they can trade off each other, but they're not really shifting the dynamic on this CT side at all. When they've had these pistols, they've played very standard, and ATTAX are more than happy to make use of the superior firepower. Demq in the apartments, holding towards balcony. He has that jump up position on lock, but ATTAX have set their sights on B. They're going to very quickly overwhelm Psycho in a moment.
Should just be a free round for them. Not really even any chance of him getting a kill as long as Scrung checks that angle. Ever since the B250's been nerfed, so you can't get that one-shot headshot. Ooh, happy days, happy days. It was really dumb though, that you could spend $300 to get a 1-bullet headshot.
I don't know, man. I used to love it. Just running around,
yeah,
carefree.
I did too, but not watching it.
Yeah. It was a force to be reckoned with. It's so accurate as well when you were running. So
yes. And now they made it a baby deagle, which was already a baby op. So you can imagine a line of hierarchy being established. That op though, in Demq's hands, looks less like a baby, more like an angry teenager. It does get 1 kill, but then immediately after that, it is shut down.
the timing on that, I actually thought Slack's team killed him for just a second there, but the kill there for Demq. Let's see if Sensei can grab a weapon of his own. While he will try, he almost loses his life in doing so. A headshot, but not the kill. And, well, crazy, another buy on the cards. This time they cannot get the double up. It was wasn't invested into it by them. They'd recovered it off of Slacks previously. But that's clearly not their... That's clearly sort of the ideal lineup of weapons that they'll have in a round. That's what they aim for.
Yep. Sensei is going to be going for the early mid pick. Can he find any kills is the question. Molly's out deep though, and that's going to be followed up with a lot of banana control, but banana contest is coming in. Demq's found one, and the second is damaged, but not quite finished off. Because of that, it has to be an immediate save call and alternate attacks. Water read coming out from them. They just rush up banana, overwhelm, and there you have it.
Yeah, it's about the worst thing that could have happened there for Crazy. Yeah. They typically, when you go for a play like that, you have those 3 players so that that doesn't happen, but they just push through smokes, man. And, well, Crazy, they don't hit the shots necessary. Toxic at least might secure himself a bit of an exit. The man approaching his mirror bit, he's low HP, and so Toxic, he needs enough frag to find. And while they can certainly make an effort to contest these weapons. They have some money to spare. It's might be ill-advised, so they're making the smart choice here.
Crazy is still holding to a position where unless they start to claw together rounds very soon, alternate attacks will be saying, you know what, we don't care about your economy, we don't care whether you're saving money, we don't care whether you're buys because we've already won the half. And you don't want to be stuck in that position whatsoever. Alternate attacks, their money is not quite as strong as it could be, but it's still pretty good.
And I think when I'm sort of criticizing Crazy being a pretty stagnant defense on the CT side, I don't think ATTAX are going to do that whatsoever when they swap on over. Take a timeout here for Crazy, see if they shake things up a little bit, maybe more pressure in towards the apartment, see if they can do it, have a more concerted effort towards second middle. We've seen some crazy plays in the Malta vibes where they've gotten aggressive like that, but what isn't crazy is checking out our partners over at Hellcase. They're the biggest, the most well-known case opening website with almost 100 cases, upgraded case battle, upgrader, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolutely unique features. You won't get bored with Hellcase, and you can use the promo codes to save more and grab what you deserve. Your ooh threw me off. I'm
sorry.
Yeah, you can't.
I appreciated the segue. gotta give it some love right there. But Stefan has to find some love in because he has not been given too much love to give away. Instead, Sensei will be falling down. And Stefan just keeps on going. More and more kills, but Demq turns it around and brings it back to a 3v3. The question is, are they going to want to pursue? Skrunk knows that he could just be brought down the second he's trying to go into that door. But he decides against it, and instead they will try and pincer him into the apartments. Demq, though, can come from wherever he wants at this point. Slacks is brought down as that smoke had not bloomed yet, and with that, the bomb is also on the ground.
Well, they finally deal with Demq from behind. The apartment's now a clear position. Now into this 2 versus 2. Another smoke deployed to try and keep Psycho at bay, but they're wrapping around. Sergey's looking for a bit more space. The pincer maneuver as they set up for this retake. The Molotov, it will force Skrunk into the corner. He'll deploy his own to try and keep Sergez back. It's a utility delay tactics from both sides, and Psycho, that's a crucial kill to be given up. Mirbit emerges the victor through the smokes, and Sergez, he's trying to get a bit more ground, isolate the duels. The first kill's there. Skrunk ducked behind the box and trying to remain elusive, but Sergez has his number. A 1 versus 2 for Crazy to finally pull it back on the CT side.
Incredible from Sergez right there as he somehow, despite even being flashed up initially, look at this replay over here from Demq first. You know, beautiful stuff. I hope that we get Sergey's replay as well, because Sergey is flashed up entirely. He darts around, reveals his position, but even while he's fully blind, his movement is perfect to keep him safe and bait out the 1v1s. That's incredible stuff from him.
Yeah, I thought all the utility thrown in his direction might have made things more difficult, but you know, he flourished.
Unfortunately, that does still mean that Crazy only survived with 1 player capped alive. They have another buy, don't get me wrong, but it gets sketchy if they lose this one. Very sketchy.
Yeah, well, they'll still have that loss bonus. They need to hold on to things over at B. That's the main issue. Psycho, he guns them down as they attempt to take control of top banana. Toxic as well will chime on through into the apartments. It's different posturing up from Crazy. Those adaptations are certainly going a long, long way. Now just Mirbit and Slacks. See if they can recover anything even slightly. Just the jumping player to spot, but that gets spotted out, while Psycho goes uncleared and unchecked for now. Crazy in a commanding position in this round.
Blacks is still waiting for some sort of information to come to him, but Crazy are not giving it up. Psycho, however, he's been great so far. He's got 3 kills on Banana, and Sergez is there to follow up and support. some big credit to Sergis as well. He had a fantastic flashbang, which allowed for Psycho to actually take the peak down. With the Molotov at the feet of the terrorist side, they were actually running forward, which made it so they couldn't even try and dodge the flashbang. So all in all, really nice B-side hold coming out from Crazy. They completely monopolized Banana, and alternate ATTAX just don't have a chance.
And we saw less utility deployed by ATTAX in that round as well towards Banana, and it does come back to bite them. They don't smoke off that top car position. It opens that door for Crazy to get aggressive. And now the money's not looking too hot for ATTAX. They've got a couple of rifles and deagles. They've got sure enough utility to contest these positions later on into the round, but Crazy will be happy to establish some control very early on. Good nade as well on Stefan.
They still aren't really getting aggressive on alternate ATTAX's side because they're waiting and hoping that Crazy is going to make a mistake. Before Psycho went through towards Banana, and the round earlier, it was actually Demq inside the apartment. So any sort of a play to come through would make alternate ATTAX's life easier, and that's what they think at least. Sergey, in the meanwhile, is just playing anti-flash. Beautifully done. He's able to reposition out, but not expecting the second one, and that's where he throws out his own flashbang soon. But actually, he holds on to it. Sergey's will maybe even be able to swing that out later on. Remember, this is the force buyout from the terrorist side. They really want to win this.
Oh, this might be a bit of a bait and switch antics over towards Pit. Demq, he's moved in front of the smoke, trying to draw some attention away. If he does fall here, Toxic can be a little bit more impactful. The Molotov through, that forces Toxic into the open. ATTAX have the site, they can get this bomb planted. And while it will be maybe a short-lived plan, because the CT side still have Pit control, this is still a retake that needs to get underway. Demq might have gone by unchecked here.
They know there was a Farmus around, but did they have the presence of mind to realize that it was still a Farmus? Psycho finds one. Demq reveals himself, and Stephen swings out for the kill. Cressy adds one more to the tally, and he's going to be a consistent menace towards short. Stefan, in the meanwhile, does fall, and Cressy left in a 1 versus 2, trying to bait out the off shot. Will not do so. He's now going in. He won't be able to finish it off. And there you have it. Alternate ATTAX. Can't quite get that 7th round, but how damn close was that?
Yeah, Cressy almost makes the adjustment towards the end there. It is some fine margins. The spray, it had to come out immediately. Just a little bit of doubt. Maybe they weren't sticking it. Maybe they were. And well, we know the fact. Crazy come away with the round. It's one survivor each side of the coin. The fact that that's a force buy as well, the fact that they get that much room on the site, that much respect from Crazy, it is telling. They weren't really sure as to how many players were committed to the site. They have a lack of information on that CT side, but they just get it done. Some crucial kills, I think, in particular by Sensei, finding just enough room for them to get more ground on the site.
No, absolutely. It just gave Crazy one lifeline, and I thought Demq, the second he goes down there without getting a kill, I thought it's done.
Yep.
I was sure of it, but one way or another, they're still right then. That was the smoothest jump boost I've seen in a very long time. And to those of you guys who are watching thinking, wait, how do they do that? Well, it's actually quite an uneven floor, Inferno. So you're able to get some jump boosts across in some very interesting places, and that's definitely one of them. Very cool to see, even if it doesn't quite get a kill.
No, flashy antics, some great run boosts, but like you said, no frags to speak of as of yet. Good tag damage on Stefan to start out this round, but it's still a buy that ATTAX have mustered together. They've got an AK on Cressy, they've got some SMGs to work off of. There's certainly still a possibility of this being an ATTAX round. Of course, there's a lot of head armor on the Crazy side, so these SMGs will be a lot less effective.
Murbit. Well, they're taking control of arches early. That could be dangerous. Senses re-peeking out. He's found one. Looking for more. Indeed, there it is. Could it be 3? It'll have to be if he wants to keep himself alive. He's peeking out. Pulls out the USB instead. He's got one more. The second, the harder shot for Murbit to get. He does manage it, but there you have it. DemQ now just has to keep this A site safe. There's 15 seconds left. Auto attacks cannot do anything.
Yep, the bomb drop to Slacks. Don't think he's going to be able to get away with the AWP. That, although saving on the T side isn't always the best, if he'd kept hold of that, that would have gone a considerable distance. But I mean, confidence here from Sensei. Very, very dicey over towards Library. Could almost see him getting that fourth, just considering how low Mirbit was. But just missing a few too many shots. Crazy, bringing it closer and closer.
Slacks and Sensei have got to start really bringing in the up-on-up battles for Slacks to feel useful over here.
Killing towards the apartments, though, from Cressy. And Sensei's going to be a bit worried here. It's rushed down. That's the bomb dropped in towards Boiler. Suddenly, it's all about staying alive for as long as possible. He has no clear exit in this round. Has to just hold on to this room for his dear life.
He goes for the wallbang, doesn't he? Watch him. He's just going to wallbang Cressy out of existence. No Scott wallbang, straight to the head. I believe. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just trying to will it into existence. However, the three players from the terrorist side are going to be finding a lot of troubles very soon if they don't hurry up. 55 seconds on the clock, and they're moving up short soon as well. Sensei with the no-scope. It might not be through a wall, but it's there nonetheless. DemQ as well, who's given Sensei a path out, takes down Slacks, leaving Stefan very lonely versus 4.
Well, he can maybe make his way over to the bomb. Crazy have kind of given up control of that, but it's in a position where DemQ has eyes. Stefan, does he adjust for the high angle? They have a crossfire that's very deadly, and while Sergiz, he's coming in from behind, so it doesn't even have to be the crossfire.
Well, look at that, though, man. Sensei has been insane. These past few rounds, he's just been getting multi-kills after multi-kills, and it's starting to reflect in his scoreline as well. 10-6 might not seem impressive, but keep in mind that this is also a 10 where Crazy were down 6-1, and they weren't really finding much on their upper. They weren't finding the early pickoffs. They weren't getting him involved the same way as he'd like. So now, a very different Sensei coming out, and he's ready to go straight down second mid, gets information by playing inside the boiler early on. And immediately afterwards, backs off and will be asking for some more support from his team. Wait.
Well, some missed utility by ATTAX, but they approach the A site nonetheless. Toxic overwhelmed immediately. DemQ behind the site doesn't look the right way, and although Sensei will find one, it's not going to be enough to keep hold of this site. A 3 versus 4 on a pretty scrappy buy from ATTAX. They're going to be able to play these post plans. I don't even know if Crazy are that interested in contesting it. They've got the utility to play off of, but they don't really know where all of these ATTAX players are.
And Crazy would really like them to back off. Their money's very good on a few players, but 3 of them are sitting around that 1,000 mark. Sensei, however, isn't done yet. Sergiz wants to keep going as well. The Molotov is now spread into Gold's arrow box. Sensei is looking for that kill, but he can't connect. He gets one more opportunity, but simply doesn't capitalize. One player saved into the next round. They will have another AWP out for Sensei, but a very weak buy behind it.
Yeesh. I mean, just losing so much control of middle there from Crazy so early on, and the fact that ATTAX were right there as soon as they fell back to execute on the site. Crazy get kind of caught in transition as they're repositioning on those bomb sites. I thought the A site was looking a lot better ever since they got a grip of banana control in particular on this Crazy side, but ATTAX, it's not the best buy that wins them that round. It's instead just a bit of a rush tactic that Crazy get caught out by.
Well, these nades aren't going to do much. Crazy expecting ATTAX to have gone up aggressively early, but ATTAX, once they've realized that the utility's been deployed, now they know they can take control a little bit more comfortably. I say that. There is a Molotov behind, and Sergey has rotated over as well.
Oh, 3 players on toe for Crazy. A lot of utility exchange, some fired shots, not a lot of connections on either side of the coin. I think it's a feint. They think it's a bit of aggression that's not going to actually be realized. Cressy finally dealing with Toxic pushing through from the apartments in towards the T side of apartments, and now suddenly ATTAX have a man advantage to operate off of.
And they've rotated back Sensei, so that means that Demq has to step up. Sensei as well, if he gets his kill early on. But Murbit on the other side is too good for him. And there you have it. I think that's just another round on the books for Ultra ATTAX. And with this, unless Psycho comes up huge, with 28 seconds left on the clock, unless he can find a few kills there and then, but he moves past the terrorist. He's dodging the shots. And do they move back? Yes, they're going to A. Are they? What's going on here? 18 seconds. Skrunk will find the kill at the very least, but Demq is left alone, and he knows if they lose this, then it is a 6-9 guarantee. But does he go for it, or does he save the op in front of him?
Yeah, it has to be a saving game, surely. I'm surprised ATTAX almost do that. They trade places in the smoke. They give Psycho a lot of respect in that regard as well, that they're even considering rotating back towards the A site. But you have Murbit sort of clearing things through spawn. It's like, no, there's only one guy there. Please just deal with him, Skrunk. That's your job, man. They didn't have the time to go back either, so that could have been a mistake that went a mile. But they got grips of the comms fast enough.
They had some sense. Me getting knocked into them when they looked towards the clock. Yeah, it's okay. It's just one guy. Unfortunately, Sensei's rotation towards Arches is really detrimental. Though if he was there, maybe they've got some play off of each other with the farmers and whatnot. Maybe the farmers being inside the smoke can be so much more useful. But unfortunately, it simply isn't the case. And now comes out the timeout to see how they buy into this, how they play into this. I want to see some aggression out from second mid.
Yeah. I mean, they've been getting some strong apartments control very early on to the rounds. We've seen now Toxic a couple of... It might not have been Toxic one of the times in a pistol, but they get into that sort of close cubby corner where they're not sitting on the steps. They're not in sort of traditional angles for that CT side to be holding in. And although ATTAX have been pretty meticulous, all it takes is just one sort of lackadaisical or sort of uncleared angle, or maybe you lazy check it, that really changes things in the dynamic. And yeah, Crazy if... I don't know. They haven't been too aggressive. They haven't changed things up too dramatically. We've seen it a couple rounds where they focus on apartments and they try and take an early duel, but nothing further from that. Not trying to like force ATTAX to make some really tough decisions.
Crazy did have a few rounds in a row where they looked like they'd been able to take complete control, but that was just off the back of Sensei having multi-kill after multi-kill. Now that alternate attacks have evaded that, and as I say, that Psycho's in a great position to chuck out a nade and do some damage. He's waiting to peek out. Molotov as well to make sure that no one can come close to him. They do get the free early kill, so maybe this could be their route to equalization, but first they have to get past Skrunk on this banana. And Skrunk, well, he sees the flares, he's missing the shot, and that could be his death. He's trapped in, but who's trapped in with who? Psycho will fall, and Sergez will fall very low. Different kind of falling, but there is that.
Yeah, numbers have descended on his health bar. Well, I thought Cressy was going to sort of prod through towards the A site, see if he could be a lurking element. He's slowly making his way back over. ATTAX want to go for a full set execute, and Cressy has a lot of utility that would be important. I mean, Crazy, they have the crossfire, they have that boosted player up. They're both elevated angles now as the execute comes through. The flash, oh, it blinds up Skrunk, but now they fall off. Demq blinded up. Sergey is able to get away with the first, and Demq chimes in. The crossfire works wonderfully, but now Demq is isolated. They can track him down successfully, and even through the smoke, Sergey was low HP, so one bullet is all it takes. They bring it to this 2-on-2, and the flank is fast from Sensei.
Sensei and Toxic, they have to win this 2v2 though. That's the thing, that's the problem. Toxic's only got a deagle, and that deagle is now on the ground. Sensei, up at the ready. Scoped indirectly, sees the elbow, does tag it up, but it counts through the pillar, and as a result of that, he simply can't get the job done. It only manages to tag the pillar on the side. Sensei, a bit confused, he's still chasing, but there's no time, and Slack just swings that to beat him down. 10 kills and 7 deaths, not the most impressive from Slacks, but he comes through in the end when it really matters. 9 for 6. And Crazy, just being a little bit outplayed at times.
Yeah, I thought for sure in that retake, Sensei would have really picked up the pace there, just to give Toxic a bit more room with the Deagle. Toxic's had a bit of a rough one. He's been on the receiving end of some antics from ATTAX, and they are reading into it pretty well. And our partners over at LoopBet seem to think that ATTAX have that edge, and we can see why. They've had more impressive showings thus far when they were on that T side. And Slacks now has a USP to start off the pistol round. I'm concerned for what lies ahead.
Well, Malta attack. Ooh, I hear some bullets whipping by someone's head. It's actually Cressy who hears them as well, and he's trying to come through with a mid push to find a few quick kills. Unfortunately, from the side is where he's assaulted. He does come back and bring them down and add another. Alternate attacks are going to be in a commanding lead in the pistol round, but Psycho is there to bring things back. A 2v2 without the bomb is not an easy sight for the terrorists, though.
Oh no, Demq, he gets caught on the bench, turns to see what's blocking him, and now it's just Psycho. That small bit of movement costs one of the players. Psycho, can you bring it back? A smoke deployed that makes things so much more awkward. I was going to say it's a bit of a weird position for ATTAX to be in because they have to fight from T-steps. They have to be prepared for so many angles, but they've got a handle on it. Cressy is having a great pistol round thus far, and we'll see if Psycho can one-up him. Cressy, though, he's moved through the apartments. He's going to have to clear underneath him momentarily. And there's the easy one on Psycho. Caught out by the bridge. ATTAX another pistol round. Now 5 for 6 in the series.
It's a little bit hard to win a best of 3 when your opposing team wins every single pistol round except for one.
Yeah.
It's not great. Also, Crazy, you've not been fantastic at winning force buys either, so it's not even like you can just expect him to immediately force buy and hey, yeah, we're fine now. Crazy, I've actually been going conservative fairly often, and this will be no different. It should just be a throwaway round. Demq has got a Deagle, so maybe some kills can materialize, maybe some sort of magic can be there, but magic is a thing of the medieval ages for a reason.
Wait, so you're telling me it existed?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, have you never heard of Merlin?
I mean, yeah, but you know.
You live in England. You should know how the lineage for kings is decided.
Oh, maybe I'm going against my descendants. The lack of faith in magic.
Wait, just gotta stop pulling out swords and stones all over the place, man. I'm telling you, that's how you proceed in life.
Well, while he didn't have a great pistol, Slacks may be presented an opportunity at some great frags. Not quite Excalibur, but an MP9 that can do a lot of damage against unarmored opponents. The first kill, it's going to be there. The second, going to be a little bit labored, but it's a gone round in an instant. As soon as those crazy players peak, they all meet the firing squads of ATTAX.
Are you sure it's not Excalibur? Because at this point, I mean, 4 kills from the MP9s across the board. It might as well be a legendary weapon from the ages. It is really good, though, even against the rifles. Yep, I'm looking forward to seeing it come through. Skrunk has a UMP, which is the other weapon, the OG SMG, which was broken. The OG, hey, suddenly I have the same armor penetration as a rifle. Let's do this weapon. But... yeah. And
then they nerfed the spray, I think. So, or like the running and gunning accuracy.
I think they also nerfed the damage, though. Didn't they? I think
yeah, I think you're right.
There's been so many of nerfs, though, at this point.
And I actually think this is kind of greedy from ATTAX. Obviously, they have a 5-round separation, but 4 SMGs against the full rifles now from Crazy. Yeah, they can be effective, but the AKs will always have that edge. Even against M4s, so... See, they've stacked themselves up accordingly. 4 players over towards just a solitary man in, I think it's Skrunk or Stefan, actually, over on that side of the map. Actually, the SMGs find an opening kill. Demq unable to trade successfully. Okay, catches Skrunk leaping back and forth. There's a trade now. Mirabit may now go by unchecked because of it.
Well, maybe this is where the SMG sneaky power, sneaky goodness can come in. He can definitely get 2 kills, but he's getting too curious. And is Mirabit saying meow because this guy is about to die because of that curiosity? He's checking the angle, sees one, but can he run away before the second comes in? Nade is there, beautifully placed, and follows up with some sprays. And there you have it. Greed is good. He's found himself 2 kills. But will they be able to get the round? Alternate attacks rotating over furiously to see what they can get done.
Yeah, smoke down. Stefan can do nothing but spam through. Until Cressy gets a bit more information on this site. Both of them contained within it. Toxic, Zerg is holding a bit of a crossfire to get things going. And while Noise will be given up with the recovering of a rifle, now they'll push on through. Cressy and Stefan meet the same demise. That crossfire, the attention raised because of the noise. Crazy convert the round.
And now you need an MP9 on Cressy again. So before it was greed, now it is necessity. But necessity is going to be led by Slacks, who has now pulled out the AWP. So Cressy actually goes for the Farmers. That's fine too. Skrunk's the one with the superior weaponry, the MP9 coming in from him. Now Slacks is going to have to start to step up though. His T side, like you mentioned earlier, was not the best in the world, and that needs to change going into CT.
Yeah, they've got the big investment on him as well. Not been able to see too much success. Molotov damage done to him in the early round. With one flash, he cannot contribute too heavily to any sort of delay tactics.
No information is over here for alternate attacks about Crazy's location. Does look like they're setting up for a retake play on Banana. But Slacks being flashed up means rotations should probably start to come in. Instead, rotations are actually going away. Slacks is being relied on entirely to find his kills. He dodges the flashbang. He saw the shadow, but he can't flick back. Demq comes out on top over there. And with that, the A bomb site is practically theirs for the taking. Mirabit trying to play around, seeing if someone's crossing the shelter, but maybe this call is correct. Maybe they are going over towards the B bomb site, or maybe they can just flank the Archers players. Mirabit has to step up and put up the numbers, though.
Smoking Moto, Mirabit teased with the shoulder, finally peeked on through by Sergez. Psycho as well, catching the rotation. That's an easy call to save if you're ATTAX. They've lost that site so rapidly after the rotation came through. They're hoping to get a few more players down, but Crazy have 5 players up. Maybe Skrunk can get his hands on one of these fallen M4s, maybe find himself his hands on some AKs, but that's going to be the only silver lining to take out of this round.
Oh, Skrunk. He does have a chance to get quite a bit of money with the kill bonus. There's also another low player right around the corner. That's Sensei. And Skrunk realizes that if he had just moved forward, that could have been a very different round. And Sensei, is he going to live?
I don't...
yeah, okay. Bomb's planted in the corner. It's not planted towards... I thought they planted towards library side, otherwise you die over there. But Sensei, good presence of mind, maintains the AK. Crazy don't take too much of a hit to their economy, but you know, some good extra money will allow them to actually buy up on the alternate attack side.
Yeah, not seeing the cost reward there for the AWP of Slacks. It's a miss in that round.
Yeah.
And while he won't be able to get his hands on it again in this one, it's a commitment from the ATTAX lineup. He keeps a little bit more money in reserve than the others, just so that he can afford that up in a follow-up buy. But it's still a decent amount of weaponry at play for ATTAX. I thought they would be implementing some more aggressive strategies, some more unconventional takes on the CT side. By and large, it has been pretty bog standard.
I think that's a self boost from Merbit.
I think his teammate was surprised, like, oh,
Yeah.
you're up there.
Oh, nice, man. Good job. But yeah, I think this becomes interesting over here because Stefan, if he's not finding a few quick kills, should just be overwhelmed immediately. And with alternate attacks, his buy being as incredibly poor as it is, it is surprising that Crazy does not insist to go forward. Merbit is caught out there, checking the angle. He does find this fadeaway though. Demq, the fall, and Merbit looking to aggress. He finds a player jumping up as well. He's being gifted these kills at this point, and rotations need to start coming over. Cressy, sneaky as always with the MP9, is also able to add another to the tally. And Stefan, he's considering just pushing through the smoke, but he wants a flashbang at least to do so. And now he has, but it will be to his own demise. Toxic taking him down. Glax left in a 1 versus 2. That seems impossible.
Has to wait for this smoke to fade first. Sensei around the other side, jumps atop the box. He had a sight line to work with, but the smoke fading gives him a bit more room. Slacks, he's found the first. Now a kit needs to be recovered. It's in his path. He can converge onto that side. He has a smoke to play off as well. Can get himself on this bomb. Toxic just has to line it up successfully, and he does. The headshot as well for good measure. And Crazy, it comes down to a 1v1 at the end, but one that Toxic had a lot of control in.
Crazy. They are really fighting for their lives at this point. They are going to make sure that if alternate attacks gets an inch, it will not be without bleeding, without crying, and without being sent to the corners of hell to do so. And so far, they've been doing fantastically. They even pull out the 2 Mac 10s at this point, which will allow them to solidify their economy quite a bit. Again, I really like the decisions that Crazy is making economically. You know, they're making sure that they're trying to capitalize off of all the weaknesses that can possibly come up, and this could be more damage dealt from the D side. Alternate attacks, meanwhile, they've gone for some deagles, some P250s, but they know their buy is significantly weakened, even moving to the next one, unless they are able to save a gun, maybe.
Yeah, Merbit's a little low on cash. You could do some additional funds. Build a few more pylons. Well, they seem to have read into Crazy's setup. They've rotated everybody over towards B as the hit comes through. Crazy will have to fight through every single one of these players as they approach the smokes, the molotovs. It builds a bit more room for them to play off of. Stefan, the first opportunity. Crazy, in fact, on the boost. They're equalizing in the trades, and so much damage done on Sensei and Demq. This is a feasible round for attacks. They're still going forward. They have to get their hands on that bomb, and they find another kill. Crazy, this is a crucial kill to find, and he gets it. The follow-up is there as well. It's a miracle from the attacks buy to be able to pull that one through, but they read into the hit just before it happens.
Look at these shots from Cressy as well. And like you said, it's a miracle, but it's also very much where I said, oh yeah, Crazy, haha. If alternate attacks want to get an inch, they'll have to go to the corners of hell to do it. But then it turns out that they just buy deagles and win. Crazy was also putting up such a good showing up until then in terms of making sure that alternate attacks never knows where they're going. Even when they hit A, they'd dart a little bit into arches, they'd throw some flashes over towards B, they're making sure attacks is left guessing. And that's one of the reasons why Slacks has been so incredibly ineffective with the AWP, is because even when he had the op, he never could be asking for support because there was never really any call about, okay, flash this angle, nade this angle, make sure you're watching this place so you can back me up. And that means everyone on attacks is consistently on an island. The one round where Crazy had the absolute advantage, where I was even commending them for getting Mac 10s, that's the round they end up throwing away, unfortunately.
Yeah, sometimes it really do be like that. They call out and then immediate disappointment. And that messes with their money. They can't afford up a buy in this round. It's just the pistols for them. And now an instance in which attacks can have an easier round at play, and well, Merbit starts the round out clean.
Crazy have left the bomb behind, so they know this is just poking and prodding and seeing whether they can find something. Serg does not like being able to see. Oh, okay. As I was saying, Sega does not like being able to see chunks of his flash flying out when the nade comes in, but probably doesn't like to see his death either.
Well, and while they do get their hands on that bomb eventually on the crazy side, I don't think they're going to find much room to actually deploy it. Psycho, a few distractionary nades over at A, trying to draw attention away. Stefan is still here. They're locking things down over at B. And, well, that's the bomb conceded. No real chance, no real hope. ATTAX a clean round on this CT side. Their money is looking really pretty now that they won the pistol round and then have a clean one straight after.
Yes, it is. It's finally time for Slacks to at least have adequate support, hopefully. I really want them to be putting more emphasis on Slacks, though. So far, yes, Cressy's been insane. 25 and 12, but Cressy's been doing it all alone. You know, let's take a look at how Cressy's been playing. MP9 in his hand, he's not noticed. Okay, he's gonna find 2 kills one way or another. Deagle in his hand, not noticed, finds 3 kills one way or another. M4, every time Cressy's just somehow manages to get into a position where he's not going to be noticed. So he doesn't need the support, he doesn't need to be set up. Slacks does, he's your opper. But I really want to see more coming out of there. Flash him into position, get yourself defensively postured around him. But let's see whether or not any of those things will be happening. Sergez, meanwhile, is just bunny hopping away to relative safety.
He landed a good damage nade to start off the round as well. So some softened up ATTAX players over towards B. After they get that initial control, of course, Cressy rotating back around towards A. So a standard approach. ATTAX not having that AWP presence over at B means that 2 still need to be at least respecting the retake from Crazy. Well, Slacks will peer on through. He gets nothing for all of his patience. Has to deploy utility, reposition around the map. Crazy, though. They're looking to get some control themselves. Presence towards Banana. Simultaneously, a bit of pressure towards Brackets. And Stefan, he'll back himself out of there. They've still got smokes on this B bomb site that they can play around with as well, so they can buy more and more time off the clock.
Well, you say that, but at the same time now, this is where when the full execute comes in and you don't have nades, you don't have molotovs, alternate attacks is going to be hard pressed. So it very much will be all about, hey, who gets that first left click out realistically? And there's no smokes either. Skrunk is spotted. He's going to drop down and try and go for more, but it's Stefan to fall. And these shots that are being missed by Slacks are crucial. He needs to be able to come in and get involved. But with that smoke down, finally, it is just going to be the case. It's a 3v3.
Desperate play by Skrunk to stop the plant. They get the bomb down in the nick of time for Crazy. Still the 3-on-3, like you said. Slacks trying to get an angle with this AWP. Cressy there to support, only from a different angle. They're all approaching from separate perspectives onto the site, but Toxic, a crucial kill to find. Another missed opportunity with the AWP. Now he just has to save. His teammates are gone, and I don't think they're going to allow him to even cross back through the spawn. In fact, Sensei, Toxic, they do the damage necessary. And while that ult doesn't get saved over, there's still money for him to reinvest into it, but it would have been a nice benefit to have.
Alternate attacks, man. That's where the difference comes in about purely firepower. About being able to say, okay, this is the site we need to be able to reinforce consistently. And they don't recognize that B side is where the hit is coming from, even though they see the players early on, even though they had a lot of audio cues, and Slacks can't rotate over in time. You need your opera to be there at that point, but unfortunately simply isn't the case. Now they still have a buy, and they're getting a lot of control aggressively down towards Banana. But can they do so without losing players is the question.
Well, a lot of spam. You can see some hesitancy from Skrunk trying to dodge that best he can. Does still suffer a chunk of HP. And well, once again, they will rotate players around. This time around, they have Slacks on the AWP, positioned at B to give Skrunk some early warning. The Molotov won't quite land in his position, but the smoke will give up that he's playing that close corner. Does he reposition? Does he sit in this angle? For now, Crazy will allow him to operate in that position, hold on to bottom banana control. They set their sights towards A, towards Brackets.
And Brackets has been smoked off. Alternate attacks, they're playing it perfectly. They're getting the exact timings they need But unfortunately, now it's time for them to get shots out. Flashbang comes in. Cressy sees it coming, but Cressy has been located. He's jumped up and revealed himself. Toxic takes him down. Psych could add one more. Merbit should be next in line. He's trying to dart around the smoke and play what he can, but with the Molotov coming his way, he's been forced into a corner where he is outlawed and taken out of the game.
Good timings by ATTAX, but better utility on the site progression from Crazy. They forced those players to take some really awkward angles. The entries were there. And while Slacks, he's trying his best to come online. They're not going his direction with the AWP. Where he is not is where they hit. I'm not saying their money was looking pretty a couple rounds ago. That's run dry.
Yeah. Apparently, beauty is ephemeral. That's what I've learned from this. We're really delving into the philosophical and the self-actualization topics here, aren't we?
Every day we get older and older.
Every day. Every day we become less and less beautiful, except for on the inside. Except for you, that one person watching in Twitch chat, you're still ugly on the inside, even if you're beautiful on the outside.
Whoa!
One person, not everyone, just one person from all 3,000, or however many thousand. I'm not sure actually, but however many thousand it is, one person only. All the rest of you, you're lovely, but that one person.
I'm in Twitch chat. I take that as a personal attack.
Hey man. So it's up to you guys to figure it out. 1 out of 5,000. Who could it be? But the bigger and better question to ask is, how does ATTAX manage to cross that finish line? They were having success before, but that success was off the back of Cressy. And when I say back, I mean quite literally. He was putting them on his back. Now that he's quieted down a little bit, we're not seeing anyone stepping up to the field. We're not seeing anyone stepping up to substitute for him. Yeah. And it's not even like they're playing these rounds out incorrectly. They're doing really well in terms of using the utility at the exact right time. But Crazy just say, you know what? You're 5v5ing us, and you're not gambling on a bomb site. Guess what? We're 5v3, and we'll always win.
Well, Slacks trying his best to get an opportunity, but he strays and stays a little too long. Slacks' head ripped off. That all, once again, finding little effectiveness for ATTAX. I like this elevated angle from Merbit.
Yeah.
One I'm used to seeing too often.
Quite nice. Can we get an eye out on Merbit very quickly?
I think he's standing on like a little radiator. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little off angle to take home with you as well. Meanwhile, this is where Crazy go for the good old, hey, they're not going to have nades, so we don't really have to worry about that play. They have smokes, but we can just walk through them. 50 seconds on the clock. This should be when ATTAX's utility starts being deployed. But with the Molotovs coming out, they are going to be caught out. Stefan forced back behind the pillar where he can be seen very soon when players can cross over into Hobbit. Flashbang over to try and help them cross. Stefan needs to peek out. He will find the one kill, but no more than that. Skrunk also failing to hit any shots. The AWP does pierce through and tag up the bomb just a little bit, but can't prevent it from being planted.
Yeah, and falls as well. The wide swing from Sergey's. Merbit hope to get a flank underway, but it's just far too late. Another round in which Crazy grind off so much of that clock, making sure that the utility is expended from that CT side, and they're left out in the open, especially with the buy not being the most ideal thing for the CTs. They had to be a little bit more cutesy, a little bit more unpredictable in their nature, play far more off angles, and well, the trading game works effectively for Crazy. What a round from Sergis, though. 4 kills for him.
Huge round from him. And that's where, like I said before, you need some individuals to be stepping up, even when they're in the right positions and they're making the right plays. They were losing, but now when you lose that first kill to Sergis, I'm sorry, but now you need to step up even more. You're 4v5. You have no economy in the next round. Crazy can equalize. And that never happens. Also, the other thing about ATTAX is, this is something I've noticed on Inferno for ATTAX in general. On their CT side, I seem to remember I might have actually told you this, where I think they're actually quite weak on their CT side. And this is the exact reason why. We're seeing them playing so conservatively. We're never really seeing them taking any risks, except for on Banana, where they immediately afterwards end up going back as well. And you don't even see them gambling on rotations. You don't see them trying to make mid-round reads. It's all about, hey, just play picture-perfect Counter-Strike. And picture-perfect doesn't always work without the skills to back it up. And, you know, when I say skills, I mean literally shottless.
Yeah, and while I kind of remained hopeful that there would be a few changes, but yeah, very bog standard stuff from the ATTAX CT side as of yet. And even in a round like this, they tried to get aggressive through middle. Mirbit had a bit of his utility on his vest, kind of showed to the AWP of Sensei, so they had that early information. And well, I'll say an effort to shake things up on that CT side. It's off the back of just pistols. They're not really anticipating it to go all that right. Skrunk's got the Zeus. He's positioned over at B, but Crazy are going the other way.
And Slacks at least comes in with a quick kill. It's been a while since we've seen that come through. If he could step up, find them another miracle round the same as what Cressy did, then I would be convinced that Alternate Attacks has it in them. But so far, other than a few miracle rounds, it hasn't been great. But Slacks is shaking his hands together, making magic happen. Unfortunately, maybe he should have been shooting people instead.
A great effort to at least equalize the affair. A couple of rifles dropped on their path as well. Toxic's trying to keep his eyes on them, make sure they don't get recovered too easily. Skrunk, ooh, he tries to get himself in position. He'll jump across, make space for the FAMAS, but CR4ZY is there to back Toxic up, and they gun them all down. The equalizing round for Crazy, an opportunity to take the lead. ATTAX, do they have it in them? Can they muster it together off this bye?
Ooh, that was a nice shot.
Yeah.
Nice little peek at, but unfortunately that just doesn't matter at the end of the day. 13-13, Crazy equalize in what I believe might be the first time since there was 6-6 actually. Yeah, there was 6-6 and then they equalized. Yeah. And well, Sensei, AWP at the ready, flashbang is there, will be forcing him off the angle. Nades as well coming in. CR4ZY, who was the man of the round a few rounds ago, will be in a little bit of trouble. Slacks finally comes alive, as well as Krunk finding a kill apiece, and this could be the round for Alternate Attacks.
A two-man advantage with 1 minute 20 still left to play. That early aggression towards Banana really didn't go their way. They thought maybe they've only been committing one player in that position so many times, they'd often fall back after some fired shots. They tried to play a bit of a bait and switch, but when you just get naded to practically oblivion, CR4ZY has no real hope. And they're still spread out. They're still looking for opportunities of their own, see if they can pull something out, find the missing piece.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's right in front of them, it's very difficult to spot. Like a game of where's Wally? Oh, they'll... Ooh, nice little jump out, but that's at least information gathered. Slacks AWP posted on the apartments. He has to reposition. Mirbit as well as smoked off, so he can't really support. It has to be Slacks. Oh. There's the kill finally on Psycho. 2 kills thus far in the round for him. He's getting pressured from behind and he can't adjust in time, but Mirbit above and beyond for ATTAX. He gets the rest for the CT side and they get it all done. Finally, we see Slacks with the AWP having a high impact round.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for someone who we've been singing praises of consistently. You look on the other side, there's Crazy. Sure, Sensei's not been having the best of games. He's not been going absolutely insane, but he hasn't had to the same way because his teammates have been opening up these bomb sites with the AKs. T-side Inferno opping is not easy. We all know that. Slacks, on the other hand, has been very quiet. This time, though, changes that around a bit. Hopefully, that can be a trend rather than a rarity, though. Lots of fire being burnt on Banana. That is a crispy fruit.
And while I'd typically be disgusted at a fried fruit, fried banana actually kind of okay. We'll see if Slacks can be more than okay. Yeah, it's time to shine last round. Cressy, the smokes are down. Slacks another kill on through. The flash is perfect, but doesn't allow him that secondary frag. Too long to adjust. Surge is there with the trade. They're still wrapping this site quickly. Slacks dancing back and forth. The secondary kill found from him. Back-to-back doubles as Mirbit just sits in the pit, waits for his time, waits for his moment. Surge, not a lot that he can do in this. 1 versus 3. The bomb dropped and exposed. This is looking like an ATTAX round.
And with this, ATTAX should be able to get themselves up to match point. Circus is down and out. Finally, we're seeing something new come in. We're seeing them being proactive. We're seeing them have 3 players on the A site when there is a hit coming in from Crazy, so they can actually throw that flashbang for Cressy to peek out. There's been at least 4 rounds where every single time ATTAX has had 2 players who are actually on the site. The third player, if he was even around, he'd be around on arches. So there is no flash play. There is no possibility of counterplay. Finally, we see an adjustment coming in, and ATTAX, it immediately pays dividends, and they're at match point.
Well, waking up towards the end, ATTAX. 1 more buy. That's what Crazy have in them. They can suffer casualties if they lose this round, or if they win this round, if just a few players survive. But ATTAX, they are on the precipice. A reawakening from Slacks in these past few rounds has been a huge, huge benefit for them. They've been investing in that up so many times and found so little, but he's finding his form over at A. Crazy. Faster play towards Banana. Sensei tried to get a bit more distance, but that close Molotov, they're deterred. The plan is averted. They go instead towards another one. Maybe plan B, maybe plan C. See how many letters they've got.
The alphabet won't be helping him here. Yumi, the alphabet's never helped me anywhere. Mostly because it's against me. It's always against me. It's coming out to get me. It might be coming out to get Crazy as well. That's why they put the 4 in there instead of the A. And they know what it's all about. So, Crazy peeking out, trying to get some sprays onto Stefan. Stefan will be flashed off the angle soon, but he's not moving away. He may have overstayed his welcome. Serg is waiting for a flashbang from his team, perhaps, and they will be able to swing out wide. Stefan, who was very keen to be hopping around for information, is now on the sidelines, and with the smoke coming in, there's just a player on new box to contend with. Fortunately, there is a Molotov to buy some time. Oh,
Crazy. A big rotation round. They talked about not going for these gamble stacks. ATTAX over rotate Mirbit, the last remaining player at A, and he does get nothing on the defensive end. Toxic there with the entry. The bomb site very much open for business. A 3 versus 5 in which ATTAX, they're going to call to save.
And that is the right call to make with their money being where it is. But alternate attacks, no. This could very well be overtime, and overtime is beckoning into their ears. They're remembering Mirage, and we all know how that went. They could not capitalize. They could not close it out. Crazy this time are the ones who are fighting from behind, though. And I have to say, as much as we've been focusing the narrative around alternate attacks, some question marks had to be put on Crazy as well in the past few rounds, where, all right, fine, alternate attacks finally play quote-unquote proper rotational Counter-Strike. I'm not saying what they were playing before was wrong, but it's more traditional in the meta stuff, which works out very well for them. But Crazy's adjustment now comes in. Now you see them just say, okay, you know what? Now Auto Attacks feels like they're confident. They feel like they can go for these weird jump spots. We're just going to sneak past Banana, wide swing out, cut one pick up, and then watch you crumble and rotate over. Because that is one thing Auto Attacks has been very, very careful about, which is sending that third player over to Banana as soon as possible. Admittedly, they also send the fourth and fifth, but hey, that's on them.
Oh, might seem overly critical as well. Confused as to why Stefan stayed for so long from ATTAX, but some good plays from Crazy to recognize and punish. Now can they force that overtime? ATTAX have been looking good these past few rounds. That one not quite as clean as the others, and well, they may just go for that fight towards top Banana. Crazy have been doing a good job of dodging that altogether, just retaking it later into the round, and well, they'd stuck around a little bit longer this time. Nothing really going to be happening off the back of it.
That is a cool lineup. A very long-winded one, but quite cool. No rotations out from Auto Attacks this time. They are playing the 2-not-2. Actually, that was a lie. They were just boosted up, and I just looked at the minimap. It's not even dead. It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
It most certainly has, and this game may still deliver a longer one at that. If we end up in the overtime, who knows where this goes.
I like how crazy is set up right now, though. They can still go through anywhere, and ATTAX is in the exact same situation. You can't flash for anyone. If Slacks goes out, that's in AWP, and with the smoke being there, they've been forced to cheat. Scrunk over. Scrunk is trying to find some shots. It's Slacks to connect those. Scrunk looking to peek out yet again. They know where he is, but the problem is short, where 3 players have already walked in. Slacks repositions for the second. Merbit is here to come swing out wide. He's the good old peekaboo. He's the punch you're never expecting, and from CR4ZY box, he will come up huge, finds the bomb, takes it down. 8 seconds on the clock, and tick-tock, tick-tock. Goodbye, crazy. Demq can fight what he wants, but a 16-14, it goes the absolute distance. And what a way for ATTAX to ensure themselves a semi-final.